Going on, everybody? Oh, son of a bitch. Having technical difficulties right off the bat. Just give me, I'm not going to hit that button. Hold on. I got to figure something out here. I don't think I can change that. Wait, edit? Give me a second, everybody. This is what happens every week on YouTube. I hate the fact that it's a complete mess, but all the software that we use is a mess. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, we live, and let me just drop that. All right, we should be good to go. That was my fault. I had the wrong. It is a bug, but it was my fault. When you queue up your stream for YouTube, there's something else. You might see ads. I thought I turned that off, but I'm looking at my my device over here on the side that just shows me what's, it's like my monitor. I thought I turned those off. I wish that you guys could see what a total disaster the user interface is for setting up a live stream on YouTube. It's a mess. So we're just going to leave it at that. Whatever it is tonight. I don't know. I had the wrong camera chose, and in order to, they don't let you switch it live in the stream. Why would you let somebody do that? And I'm literally not. I'm looking to see if. No, there's no way. Once you go live, you can't reconfigure anything, or you can't pick a different camera, or you can't do anything. So for me to be able to do this and jump around to sharing my screen and the way that I do it, it's a special virtual camera that's set up, and you have to choose that as the camera that you want to use. And once you hit go live, it's done. You can't change anything. You can't fix anything. I can't go back and change any settings about the stream. I was kind of in a hurry today when I set this up. But anyway, let's just jump in. 3 minutes, see who shows up. For those of you who are new to the channel, who've never been here before, or you're just stopping in to say what's up, and you have no idea what's going on. I used to be a six-figure guy, worked in user experience design for major software companies, and I was fired from a remote job because I refused the COVID vaccine. And then the FBI showed up one night and drove a tank, a Bearcat tank, straight through the front door of my house, just like they did at Waco, over a pissed off social media rant where I basically said the tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of the FBI. And that was the week after the raid on Donald Trump's house. And I'm not even a Trump supporter. You can go follow me on X. You can click the pinned link in the comments, links.litgood.com. You can go to my X profile, and you're going to see within 10 seconds that I can't stand the MAGA cult, and I cannot stand the COVID cult. I hate the right. I hate the left. I'm an equal opportunity hater. I hate them all. We could talk about that in more detail later. But I spent 2 years in prison, federal prison, for a Twitter post. 14 months of that without even being able to see the sky or the sun or a tree, locked in a dungeon. And then when I was released, the federal government forced me to be homeless for 5 months. And I ended up being able to move to Houston, Texas, where my best friend lived. He helped me get on my feet. But now I'm living the daily grind of being on federal probation and trying to build life when there's no chance of me ever getting a job again, let alone a career or anything like that. I've been homeless. I have been, stuck with nothing but a bicycle to get around and transport. I'm dealing with a broken car right now, hence the title of today's video, when a car is a money pit. What do you do? What do you do? Um, I'm doing freelance design, marketing, website creation. I've got like 6 other hustles. None of my hustles can pay my bills. Somehow the grace of God sees me through and I'm able to survive and get from one month to the next. And so um so that's the gist of it. So yeah, I'm seeing ads pop up on the feed. So sorry everybody, I don't like to do ads on the live stream, and I don't think I can fix that right now, or I would. I guess I'll get some money for, but I I apologize profusely for making you watch ads during the live stream when I said I would never do it. I specifically turned that crap off. I know I turned it off when I was setting up the stream. But YouTube tries to they try to force you to do it, even if you don't want to. Because that's how they make their money too. So I'm positive I just made a mistake during the setup of the stream. So, hit that skip button, go to Brave. You open up the Brave browser, you won't have to watch a single ad. That sucks. That really does suck. And we're just gonna I don't think I'm ever gonna have a live stream that goes smooth, by the way. I'm one guy. The software is crap. YouTube sucks. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 apps open, 7. I have 7 different apps running at the same time to do everything for this live stream, and every single one of them is a broken piece of shit. So, what do you expect? What do you expect, man? It's like, software sucks these days. It's just, I used to work in software design, and I've got some things to say about that as today's stream goes on. But what do you do? So I'm going to jump right into the reason why Blue Chew Gold for her pleasure. Is yeah, that's the ad that popped up for me too. Now, I definitely don't need any fucking help with that. And if I ever did, I may as well just put it away. It's like when you go bald. It's like when, Donald Trump's got that stupid ass hairdo where he takes a piece of hair and tries to wrap it around his fucking head and has this stupid ass thing going, this flop of fucking hair going across his head because he's probably half bald and he's trying to cover it up. Just go bald. Just fucking give it up. There's so many, like Walter White. What's Walter White? Half the people on Breaking Bad are bald. They look fine. Howie Mandel had that curly head of hair, started losing his hair. He's like, fuck it. Shaved his head. He went bald. Everybody's like, yeah, he looks good. A lot of bald, successful people look just fine. The only thing that sucks about shaving your head is you get sunburn on your scalp. You got to put what do you call it? The stuff, sunblock when you go outside. I shaved my head during COVID. Straight up shaved my head bald. I couldn't get my hair cut because I wouldn't wear a mask. And I was like, fuck that shit. I'm just going to do it myself. And it was hard to get a trimmer that I could, finally I just said, fuck it. I shaved the whole head down to the scalp and just let it grow back. I did that 3 times. And then I started dating somebody who owned a salon, and I got all the haircuts I ever wanted from there. But anyway, so I'm going to jump right in about why did I choose when a car is a money pit for today's live stream. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this car. So a lot of you know what's going on. You get the updates every week. So my car registration, when I put the car on the road, it was only good for 6 months. And that was because in Harris County, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, probably El Paso, you have to get an emissions test done every year. There's no auto inspections in Texas. I could drive a jalopy with no brakes and no headlights and be fine. But they do an emissions test. Your check engine light, the only thing they really check for is they look at your car, they plug in a computer. If the check engine light's off, you're good to go. Well, back in April, I had until the end of April to get my inspection done so I could renew my registration. The day before my inspection was due to get done, I had a week left in the month. But it's like a 10-minute thing. They just, you're in and out. You can go to an oil change place and have it done. Well, the day before I was going to take it in for my inspection, the check engine light came on. And now it's been a month and a half long nightmare of not being able to get the fucking thing to go off. And I'm sinking hundreds of dollars, probably over $1,000 by the time it's all said and done. And here I am, a month and a half, still no solution to the fucking problem. This car is a piece of shit. It's a money pit. I hate the Volkswagen. I'll never buy another Volkswagen for the rest of my life. I can tell you that. Granted, it's a used car. We'll get into some stuff in a bit, but I'm done. I hate this car. I fucking hate this car. I'm almost to the point where I'd rather not even own a car because of this car. It's so bad. So that was at the end of April, and I keep kicking myself because there was a Toyota Corolla with 25,000 more miles than this car had, and it was 6 years older. But I keep wondering if that was the better choice for the car. You can't go back in time, and it really boils down to this. What can you expect when all you can afford is a 5,000 bucker clunker? You know what I'm saying? My last 5,000 bucker clunker, because you can't get a car for under $5,000 that'll even fucking run. You can't. Tell me how. Yeah, I've never seen, not for years have I seen where you can go get a car for under $5,000 that'll even run or that won't completely fall apart when you drive it home from wherever you bought it. So the 5,000 bucker clunker is basically the bare minimum you got to spend to have a car that you can even drive. My last one was a Mini Cooper. And, just like this, without warning, a check engine light could pop up. One time I replaced 3 sensors and the check engine light just wouldn't go away. But I didn't need the check engine light to go away to pass inspection back where I lived in Pennsylvania. But I still wanted it fixed. And so I would just keep throwing money at it, wouldn't fix it. A week after I bought that car, it was about a $5,000 car. A week after I bought it, I'd already bought a new exhaust kit because it did need an exhaust. I knew that when I bought it. Had a big hole in the one of the tailpipe or one of the exhaust manifold pipes, like near the back of the car where it met the muffler, was all rotted out. So I bought a Borla exhaust on clearance, $600. I had a guy who would install it for a couple $100. But I also had to replace the alternator within the first 3 or 4 days that I drove that car around. And so I say, that's the same deal. You never really knew when that car was a light was going to pop up, something was going to break. It never left me stranded, to be honest. I never was stranded at any time when I owned that car. I was never stranded. I could always get it to the garage and never had to have it towed. I did have it towed one time because I was a little worried about something, but ended up not being what I thought it was. But the difference was back then, that was my backup car. That was my second car. I could budget for repairs. I didn't have to take it in the second it broke down, etc. But But, when things came up, even with that car, and I was making a hell of a lot more money, I was in a six-figure income at that point. But it still gave me knots in my stomach and made me feel anxiety and had that sinking feeling in my chest whenever I had to put money in that car. Sometimes I could go several months without having any issues, and then it might be in the shop for 3 times in 3 months. I remember there was a time I needed to took it in for inspection, the mechanical inspection. They called me back and said, "Oh, it's going to be $900. You need this, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, "Get the fuck out." I was expecting it to be like $100. And all of a sudden I'm out $900. Boom. And they already have the car. The only saving grace was I had another vehicle, and the car was so old that it was hard to get parts sometimes. And so they told me they were going to need to keep it for a week, gave me a week to get the money together. The problem here in Houston, though, is I cannot renew my vehicle registration. So now I'm forced to drive around in a money pit with an expired license plate that I can't do anything about. And sure enough, I got pulled over the other day by a cop on my way home from the bakery job. All these police cars now, they have the Palantir flock cameras. And so they're scanning every license plate they see. So whenever you drive past a cop, they get a ping on their in-car laptop with everything there is to know about you. And it happened to me. I saw this cop come up behind me, and I'm like, fuck, here we go. Sure enough, lights came on. Now, how can that ruin your life? How can getting pulled over for an expired registration ruin your life? It might not ruin your life, but when you are an ex-con who just got out of prison and just got done being homeless, and you're fucking poor and you're broke and you're struggling to survive from one week to the next. Oh yeah, and you're on federal probation for 3 years after your release date. That can ruin your life. Something that fucking dumb and this stupid, a check engine light can ruin your fucking life. How? Number one, I got pulled over by a cop, so I had to report to my probation officer and explain why I got pulled over by the police. It's not just getting pulled over by the police. I got to call a bunch of fucking cops and go through a bunch of bullshit because of that. Like I said, throwing money down into a money pit when you're poor, it's crippling. I just said last week that if everything goes smooth for the rest of the month, I'll be $1,000 again. Fuck that. I won't be $1,000 until the end of fucking August now because of this car. I won't even be $1,000. That means I won't even have $1,000 to my name for fucking months. And my rent is $950 a month, and I'm not even $1,000. Like, I'm literally living from one week to the next, and there's some stuff going on there, and I'm freaked out about it, and it's like just a never-ending shit show. My career and livelihood are extremely unstable. One client decides not to pay a bill on time, and I'm fucking done. Like, it's not even that I get a paycheck from a job. I have to rely on, I send an invoice out and hope it gets paid. And when you own your own business, sometimes that can be a problem. And I'm not saying that is a problem right now, but there are signs that I don't know. I'm definitely not feeling good about some things right now. This check engine light, stupid little fucking check engine light, is spiraling out of control, and I could literally be homeless by the end of July, all because that stupid fucking light came on at the end of April. And then I could wind up back in federal prison for being poor. So how can a check engine light ruin your life? That's how. And so at least that's the kind of anxiety spiral that you can get yourself into when you're in a situation like I'm in and like I've been in. And so let's step back for a second and say, is it real? Is this real? Do I really have to be worried about all this stuff? We've been talking about Jesus and Jesus calling the book. And what's the message we've been getting out of that book? Do not fear. Do not be afraid. Do I really have a reason to be afraid about all of these things, right? Sometimes one little thing happens and it just kind of kicks off this spiral of negative thinking in your mind. And you start to just worry about this. And then, well, what about that? And then when that happens, this next thing. And then, oh, and then when that goes down, then this shit. And then, next thing I know, I'm homeless and going back to federal prison because I'm broke and poor. You know what I mean? Is it real? Well, let's start with the police officer that pulled me over. I told her what's going on. I said, look, I've got a check engine light. It's blocking me from getting my registration renewed. I've been trying to fix it for a month and a half. She goes, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, I can see that would be a problem. She's like, but I looked you up. You have your insurance. Everything's good. She's like, here's your license back. I'm just going to give you a warning. I hope you can get it done soon. Cause you'll just keep getting pulled over if you can't get it fixed. She's like, but that's why I pulled you over. I'm not giving you a ticket. Have a good day. We had a very friendly conversation. She gave me back my license and said, have a nice day. I was about a mile from my house. So the next day I had to take it to the shop. That was yesterday. So I took it to the shop yesterday about the middle of the day. Still haven't heard back from the garage. It could be something as small as an oxygen sensor, an O2 sensor. I think that's what it is. I wanted to take it to a new garage because this garage that I go to, they're friendly. I don't think they're a ripoff garage. I think their prices are good, and I think that they're honest people, and I like them. But they're so busy that they give me some anxiety because they're not as personable, and they're just very, very, very busy. And that's a good, that just tells me that people like them and believe that they're honest. But I'm not kidding. Whenever I pull my car into their parking lot, they've got this massive parking lot. There's always over 100 cars in the parking lot being worked on. And it's a big garage. They've got a lot of bays, probably got a lot of mechanics. Like I said, I don't think they're out to rip anybody off or anything like that, but they're hard. They're a little bit not like they're not responsive, and you have to keep on them when you drop your thing off and keep checking in. And I was hoping to get the car back by the end of the week. And today I was trying to be patient. I just waited the whole day, never heard back. So it's a day and a half that they've had my car. I have no idea what it's going to cost. I told them, I said, I have to pass my inspection. Bare minimum. I don't care what you have to do, duct tape, coat hangers, whatever the fuck. I got to pass that inspection. So I'm still waiting to hear about that. So I really don't know what it's going to be. So then I had to put together an email to send my probation officer explaining what happened, because it's like 24 hours you have to report if you get pulled over. They've told me that if a cop says hello to you on the street, you should report it. But the way I've interpreted it, if a police officer finds out my name or takes my license from my hand or questions me about anything, I'm going to tell them. As soon as a cop puts your name into a computer, my probation officer gets an alert. Yeah, at least the cop didn't give me a hard time about the parole, JS says. Yeah, she knows. She knows I'm on federal probation. She didn't say anything about it. Maybe that's why she cut me some slack. I mean, she was friendly. She was not rude. She wasn't mean. She was she was a professional, one of the police officers that you can respect because, I'm not saying she didn't have an attitude. I didn't cop her an attitude. She didn't cop me one. I said, look, yeah, I know my registration's expired. Here's why. Here's all my stuff. She goes, I don't need it. Just give me your license for a second. And then she goes, she's like, I'm going to give you a warning. But she put my name in her computer. So now it's on record. If I get pulled over again, they're going to know, oh, he got a warning on such and such day, and he still hasn't fixed it. So I sent the email to my probation officer, and then I sent her a text message with a summary of what was in the email, just so that I could confirm it. I got a response back from the probation officer. Got it. That's it. 2 words. Got it. Haven't heard back from her since. Doesn't seem like she gives too much of a shit about it. And why would you? Now, I didn't get a ticket. I just got pulled over by a cop. If I went a week and never told her, I could go to prison for that. Will I? Probably not. But the fact that I was just like, it wasn't even 12 hours. It was less than 12 hours, or it was less than 24 hours. I told her, gave her a summary. It was already in her computer. That's all automated. When she got to work that day, it was already in her system. Adam got pulled over. She didn't tell me that, but I know how that's how all that works. All right, so next problem, my career, unstable. But I'm working, I'm still getting paid. I really can't even say I'm getting paid late, but I never know when I'm getting paid. And I think the problem is more, I have this car repair that I don't know what it's going to be. And I don't want to be telling my clients, hey man, I need you to pay that bill so I can fix my car. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. And so I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping I get paid as quickly as my client usually pays me. But everybody's feeling the financial pinch right now, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm just wondering if my business is going to fall apart and I'm going to be left out in the cold at some point. And these are, I've been feeling like this for a very long time, for months. That's not like just one thing, but I'm still gainfully employed. And I'm just going to leave it at that because it's not worth digging deeper on a live stream on YouTube into that. But it's stress. It's scary. It's the unknown. And it's just, I went through this when I was a freelancer for 6 years, back from like 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like from 2004 to 2009, I worked for myself and I was a freelancer, and I never knew when I was getting paid. I could send a client an invoice, and back then things were in the mail, credit cards. We didn't have the tools that we have today. It could take me 3 months to get paid for I could send an invoice in January and get paid for it in March. And I had probably, at any given time, I might have been working for 5 clients, 6 clients at once. There's always, money going out, money coming in, blah, blah, blah. Somehow it magically always worked. God always had my back. I just felt like I could get down to where I have less than 20 cents in the bank, but then a check would show up in the mail and I'd be right back. And other problems would pop up and the money to fix them would show up. And so I just try to remember those things when I'm feeling this way. Like I said, a lot of people are on edge right now. This stupid fucking Donald Trump. Donald Trump has turned the whole fucking city of Washington, D.C. into a rundown trailer park. Dude, everything that motherfucker, the White House is all trashed. The yard is done. There's no more grass anywhere around the fucking White House. Half of the buildings around it are demolished. And now they got this green fucking pool with a bunch of slime and the paint's peeling up off the bottom of the pool. And he's sitting there trying to gaslight everybody, saying that the liberals sabotaged his shitty ass pool. And now he's put a fence around the pool with armed guards. And like, what's next? Like the blight. It's like a trailer park. It's like one hillbilly moved into a trailer park, put 2 cars out in the fucking unmowed grass with no wheels and cinder blocks holding them up. And 6 months later, the entire fucking trailer park is trashed and full of meth addicts and everything. And now the trailer park across the road is all run down and shit. Like, he's doing this shit on purpose. You do know this, right? That this all is by design because they're destroying America systematically right now. And he's doing this, he's destroying the nation's capital and turning it into a rundown trailer park full of meth addicts on purpose because it's symbolic of the downfall of this country. This is all on purpose. Everything that you see is planned and being executed according to a plan. And the economy is in free fall. We're going to talk about that some more tonight. And people are on edge. People are on edge. Even people I know with money are on edge. Like, they don't know when the bottom's about to fall out, and everybody knows it. And everybody's acting like that. Like, we're just expecting it any fucking day now to wake up and all the money's just gone. Your bank accounts are all empty. Everything is just, a pack of ramen noodles at the grocery store is $700. You know what I mean? Like, we are just on the edge of the end of America. JS says, Blue Sky, what's up? She says, it's all on purpose for sure. Of course it is. Everything you see is, it's right on schedule. Donald Trump stabbing America in the back and turning his back on the whole country, going against everything that he promised to do and doing the exact opposite is by design. And we're going to talk about that some more. I mean, I'm going to stick around for 3 hours. I wasn't feeling too good when I started the stream today, but now we're half hour in. I'm on my stride now. I'm good. I'm good to go. Let me just check the camera's in sync. I'm not having camera problems. So, I mean, if you got to watch a few ads, sorry, that's something I do not like, but I know I can't just stop the stream and go turn them off. It was hard enough to stop the stream and fix the camera issue. So, next week will be good. JS says the United States of Israel. Of course. Like, are there any other countries in the world that tax their citizens to death so that they can gather up all the money and send it to the United States? No, we pay half or more of our income here in the United States so it can be gathered up and sent to all the other countries on earth. And we can just sit here and be poor with a shitty ass pool full of algae and a ripped up pool liner, while Donald Trump's saying it was the libtards that destroyed it. All they did was arrest a few people who stuck their hand in the water to pick up paint peels that were already floating on top of the water. And now people are I'm actually taking a little bit of an X break, because I said on X the other day, I'm like, can we just get another false flag like 9/11 or something like that? Because I'm sick and tired of watching a bunch of fucking retards argue about a pool. I've been watching every fucking retard on the entire platform of X screaming and yelling at each other and fighting about a pool. All the MAGA retards screaming about how anybody who defaced the swimming pool or the national pool should get 20 years in prison. I got 2 years for a tweet. So I don't know, is ripping paint out of the fucking pool worth 20 years in prison if you get 2 years for a tweet? I don't fucking know anymore. But we all know if that was Joe Biden's pool problem and not Trump's pool problem, all these MAGA retards would be bitching about the broken pool. But I'm just sick and tired of all these people that suck Donald Trump's dick for money. But I follow all of them, and I don't block them. I could block them, But I follow all of them because they are the people that I go after when I'm on X. I troll them with memes and shitty comments, and I'm just a total dickhead to all these fucking stupid shills on the left and the right. I'm going after all of them, and that's how I've got my subscriber count to over 1,000 subscribers now. I'm at 1,005 the last I checked. And the only reason that it's growing is because on X, in order to get viewers, in order to get impressions, and in order to get people to follow you, you have to comment on popular people's posts. Or else, if you start an X account and you start putting posts up on your timeline, you could do that for 15 years and you'll get 4 followers. No one will ever see anything that you ever post, ever. I've got 1,005 followers, and a post on my timeline will get like 5 views. So X will show a post on my timeline. If I just put a post up to say something or put a meme up, 5 to 10 people will see it. That means X only showed it to 5 or 10 people. Yet I've got 1,005 people following me right now, and they'll only let 5, maybe 10 people see my post. 1,005 people follow me, and 5 people will see a post. But I can go to that fucking dickhead cat turd, or that dumb bitch Sassafras 84, that fucking retarded ass bitch, or I can go to Gunther Eagleman, that fucking cocksucker, and all these fucking MAGA assholes, Laura Loomer, that crazy psychotic nut job bitch. Any of these people, I can go and post a troll post calling them a stupid piece of shit, and I'll get thousands and thousands of views and 10, 20 new followers just for one well-placed meme on some piece of shit timeline. So I have to follow all these dirtbags. Like Barack Obama. So yeah, what were we arguing about on X? You know, after the cage fights at the White House a couple weeks ago, whenever the fuck that was, that one fighter gets up and says, Michelle Obama is a man. And all of a sudden, Michelle Obama has a dick memes are back in action. The meme stock price of Michelle Obama has a dick memes went through the roof overnight. And now those are back in play. And so now every time Barack Obama shows up to X with his 60 million followers or whatever he has, and he posts something, if I can get a good Michelle Obama has a dick meme at the top of Barack Obama's post, boom, 30,000 impressions in like an hour. 30,000 people will see my meme in an hour because I posted it on Barack's post as a reply. But I can post 30,000 memes to my own timeline and 20 people will see them. That's how X works. So unfortunately, I have to follow all these scumbags that I can't stand. And it was like 5 days of arguing about if you're in the MAGA cult, Melania Trump is a wholesome, she's a wholesome first lady with good morals, and Michelle Obama has a cock. But if you're in the COVID cult, if you're in Dr. Fauci's COVID cult, Michelle Obama is a beautiful lady, and Melania Trump is a stripper and one of Jeffrey Epstein's hookers that Donald Trump bought. And that's the argument for 5 fucking days. And I'm just showing up and I'm like, okay, why can't we have it all? Why can't we have both? Yes, Michelle Obama has a dick. Michelle Obama is a man. Yes. And Melania Trump is a fucking hooker, a stripper, one of Jeffrey Epstein's hookers that Donald Trump bought off of him when he was looking for a new piece of ass. Why can't we have both? I'm just here to shit in the punch bowl for all you fucking retards that cling to the left or the right. You know, let's talk about, you know, Jesus said, why are you so busy pointing out the splinter in your enemy's eye when you ignore the plank in your own eye? And that's exactly what these fucking cult retards are. Whether you're in the MAGA cult and you suck Donald Trump's dick and no matter what Donald Trump says or does, he's God and he can do no wrong, or you suck Obama's dick and you suck Joe Biden's dick. You know, Joe Biden might be in the shower with his daughter while his crackhead son is hitting the glass dick out on the fucking couch while his dad's molesting his daughter in the shower. But if you're in the COVID cult, you can't talk about that. You have to look the other way and say Joe Biden's a strong, capable leader who has his shit together. And dude, he doesn't have his shit together. He can't even make it to the toilet when he has to take a shit. He shits in a fucking diaper, and so does Donald Trump. Like, I'm just here to tell you, all these fucking people in charge are scum. All of them. And so I get real agitated by the left versus right ding-dongs. But you have to keep in mind a lot of these people who suck the dick of the left or the right, the blue dick or the red cock, they're getting paid for that. Their livelihood, this sassafras cunt, I can't fucking stand her. She gets paid. She's got she's over 1 million followers now. I've been watching her rise since she was at 200K. And she gets paid to suck the dick, the MAGA cock. And you don't get paid if you don't toe the line. If Donald Trump says the damage to the pool was vandalism, then all the MAGA influencers have to show up posting one post after the next about the people that trashed the pool should get 20 years in prison. And I get what it is. They're a bunch of shills that get paid for towing the line. These people aren't organic thinkers. They're not thinking for themselves. They're posting the shit that they're told to post. They're going to tell you that it doesn't work like that. Yes, it does. Once you've got a couple 100,000 followers on a platform like that, you're getting approached by the people with money. And if you play ball, Gunther Eagleman guy, he gets like $500 just for him to repost a tweet. He'll repost your tweet on his feed if you pay him $500, and that's out there. That's public knowledge. And like I said, it does not matter. Donald Trump could rape a 10-year-old boy on the stage at a campaign rally live in front of a stadium full of red hat retards. And the next day, Gunther Eagleman, Cat Turd, Sassafras, and all these other stupid MAGA dickwads are going to be posting, if you don't like molesting kids, then you ain't America first. You're a fucking libtard. And they're just going to attack you because you don't like seeing children being molested. And why is Donald Trump defending the pedophiles on the Epstein Island client list like his life and his presidency and his ability to stay out of prison depends on that shit? Why? Probably because he's a fucking child molester. That's why. See, I'm not on either of these fucking teams. I'm free. I can say what the fuck I want. I'm tired. I'm just tired of the whole fucking thing. So, there you go. There's politics for a bit. But all that whole rant for the last 10 minutes was because all I said was a lot of people are on the edge right now because Donald Trump is destroying this country, just like Joe Biden did before him, just like Obama, Biden, whatever the fuck did before that, just like George W. Bush did before that, and Bill Clinton before him. They've all just been grinding us into the fucking dirt. None of them have stopped the process. And if anybody did show up to put a stop to that, they'd get a bullet in their head within 24 hours. So keep that in mind. That I'm 100% convinced that the Donald Trump in Butler, where he got shot in the ear, I'm 100% convinced that was just a fake assassinations staged event. I believe people got shot. I don't believe he got shot. They don't mind killing innocent bystanders to make a point. That whole thing was a staged event, though, just to, sway the election. So anyway, like I said, I'll say it again. A lot of people are on edge right now watching this fucking ding dong ruin the country. And I see it constantly. I see it everywhere. I hear everybody I know is walking around like stressed the fuck out because we all know something's about to happen. And we all know it's coming. We just don't know when, but we all know that we have to be ready for and it's going to happen like so fast. Whatever's coming is going to happen. It's going to be like that COVID scam. You're just going to wake up on a fucking Tuesday and everything's done. So be ready as best you can. I've got 2 bicycles. If I don't have a car anymore, I guess I'm back to that. But I see people losing their jobs every fucking day. I'm on LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn so freaking much. Hate it. I can't even log into LinkedIn because I only have Firefox open right now. I don't dare open Chrome or any other web browser. It might crash I've got so many apps running. My processor's on. I've got a fan blowing on my computer to keep my processor from overheating. This fan right here. I've just got it blowing straight on the laptop to try and keep it chill. So I don't know if you can hear all the background noise, but I know that the audio should be all right because I did listen to parts of the stream after the fact last week as a quality control test, and it sounded all right. This microphone, it's a condenser mic, so it doesn't really pick up background noise. You have to be really close to a condenser mic, and it tries to isolate the background from the foreground of the audio. So it should be okay. I could probably hear a little bit, but it is what it is. We're not a Netflix production here. We don't got millions of dollars in the budget to do a professional job. But I log into LinkedIn. I don't even have 100 friends on LinkedIn. It's hard for me to reconnect because I ditched my LinkedIn account in 2017. I had like 500 LinkedIn connections, former co-workers and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know that was going to be important later on in life. I ditched LinkedIn because I never needed it. Now it seems like if you ain't got no 500 friends on LinkedIn, you ain't shit. They look at you. They look at me now like obviously I am a washed up piece of shit because I went to prison. But I am a washed up turd because I went to prison, but with, on LinkedIn, like I said, I used to have clout. Like I had enough people that would vouch for me. Now I still have people that will vouch for me who know what happened and who know the whole thing. And they'll still have my back in terms of they would still give me a reference and say, yeah, he said something stupid. He shouldn't have gone to prison for 2 years for a fucking tweet. But I don't even have 100 connections on LinkedIn. And I'm telling you, every single time I log into that fucking platform, there's somebody new who just lost their job. Every time. Every single time I log into that LinkedIn platform, which is rare. I can stand to be on LinkedIn for like maybe 10 seconds. And then I'm like, get me the fuck out of here because I just read some business douchebags post and I'm just like, get me out. I can't stand it. I'm like, I cannot read that fucking drivel for 10 seconds before I just want to reach through the screen and smack somebody. These fucking losers. But, they're losers with jobs. So I guess, but people are on edge. And the economy's fucking broke. The haves and the have-nots are going like, totally opposite directions. If you've got a little bit of money, you're just getting more and more and more and more. And if you somehow slipped and went broke, you're just getting more broke and broke and broke and broke. And you're going to be, I'll be living under a bridge sucking dick for crack rocks at some point, the way things are going. Because I mean, I don't know, maybe, or I'll be rich or I'll die trying. I really don't know how it's going to go. I'm not in a good mood when it comes to finances, money, and things like that right now. And it's really because of that car. But I'm trying not to like live in that negative space because like my client, like my friend says, what you think about, you bring about. And I'm a living example of what you think about, you bring about. Blue Sky says they're raising my rent again in July. You know what? I have never, here's the thing with rent. Yes. Housing is completely unaffordable. And it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. We got this one dude. I'm not going to name his name. He knows who I'm talking about. He was doing a video the other day. I saw one of his videos. He says he pays $15,000 a year in property tax. Dude, you pay like $1,100, $1,200 a month in rent for a house you say that you own. But you're telling me you pay $15,000 a year in property tax, which is rent. You're renting your house from the government to the tune of $1,100, $1,200 a month. And if you don't make that rent payment, you get evicted and you lose your fucking house. Keep telling me you're a fucking homeowner. Keep telling me that when you got a $1,200 rent payment every month to keep your house. When's the fucking last time that you own something and you got to keep paying for it every month? And if you don't make the payments, you don't keep the thing. That's not owning something. That's renting some shit. That's the definition of being a renter. You have a deed that says when I sell this fucking thing for somebody else to rent, I get some money back. So, they got rid of homesteading in Florida? Does that mean that they have to pay property tax now when they didn't before? I thought they were making it easier. I thought they were trying to get rid of property tax in Florida. Did they pull the rug out and pull a switcheroo on everybody? Oh, yeah. You're never going to own. These fucking rich billionaire child molesting cocksuckers in charge. What do they tell you every day? You will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, I'm not fucking happy. I don't own shit, but I'm not happy about it, and neither should you be. So, anyway, whatever, dude. I'll never be a home owner. Fuck, I'm not even a thousandaire. How am I ever going to buy a fucking home? A house costs $400,000 now, for fuck's sake. How am I supposed to ever buy a fucking house? By the time I get my shit together to where I can afford the $400,000 house, it'll be a $2 million house. And I'll still, like, how the fuck do you fucking do it? How do you fucking do that? Nobody can fucking do. I don't understand. I go through these rich neighborhoods and I see 10,000 houses that all cost $1 million. Where are these fucking people getting the fucking money for this shit? I don't understand. But here, I'm just going to get mad if we don't. I got to change. Well, we're going to talk about this. We're going to dig deeper into this. I saw a guy on LinkedIn. It's not somebody I follow. It's not a friend of mine. He applied to over 2,000 jobs and now he's living in his car. And I'm going to read it to you in a bit. But, just extrapolate. In fear and anxiety, you're throwing $1,000 toward a check engine light at the same time a client decides they can't keep paying for your work, combined with being flat broke on the first of the month when rent's due, combined with your part-time job not even paying enough to cover this month's rent, let alone next month's rent. on the 1st of next month, and then boom, you're evicted, and now you're homeless once the eviction goes through. And then because you're on federal probation, you end up back in prison because you ended up being poor and homeless. So that's that spiral of negative thought that I'm talking about, that you can get yourself into if you're in a situation that sucks. And if you're not mentally strong, that will pull you down like a vortex, like a whirlpool in the Niagara River, that's just going to suck you down 200 feet below the surface of the water, and you're never coming back up. The body will still be down at the bottom, just swirling around for 200 years. But like I said earlier, is it real? That's what you got to keep saying to yourself. You got to be like, let the fear go. Like, let yourself experience all that shit. Because the more you try and choke it down, the more it's going to fight back and try to overwhelm you. So, anyway, like I said, the cop gave me a warning. The probation officer didn't seem to care. I'm working this week. I've got billable hours going on the books. I'll have another invoice out the door at the end of the week. I've got an invoice in the bucket that needs to be paid. I'll have one at the end of the week that also needs to be paid. Receivables will be all right. I even made $25 selling some stock photography this week. That'll end up going into a PayPal account and then into my checking account, however long, that probably takes a few days, but made $25 selling some pictures. I got a few credit cards. I'm maxed out on my credit cards right now because of this car situation eating me alive. But I do have some small limits that I can put some bills on. I generally use the credit cards to pay bills. But because of the car repair, I had to max them out. And now I'm stuck paying the minimum payment this month on all the cards. So I can't square the cards off till maybe next month. I can pay all the cards and zero them out again, but not this month. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even a thousandaire. I don't even know when I'm going to fucking, what's it? We were just talking about Elon Musk is a trillionaire now. And anybody, okay, here's another thing. If you think Elon Musk is the richest guy in the world, you are severely misinformed. Elon Musk is the richest guy in the world whose value you know. Do you know how much the fucking Rothschild family is worth and everybody in that family? They make Elon Musk look like he's poor. The people whose names you don't know are the real quadrillionaires. You don't think Kim Jong-un is not more wealthy than Elon Musk? He owns a fucking country. Does Elon Musk own a country? Does Elon Musk own an entire country and everybody in it is his property? Nuclear missiles, underground bunkers that are probably the size of cities, concentration camps. A whole fucking country is owned by Kim Jong-un. Everybody in it is his property. All the women are his fuck toys. He's allowed to go fuck any girl in North Korea that he wants to stick his dick in, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're his property. Your daughter, if you have 3 beautiful little North Korean daughters and Kim Jong-un wants to fuck them all when they're 9 years old, you have to let Kim Jong-un come fuck your kids. You think Elon Musk is richer than that? Get the fuck out of here, number one. But anyway, Elon Musk is a trillionaire, and I'm struggling. I can't even be a thousandaire no matter how much I try. I can't even be a thousandaire while this motherfucker's a trillionaire. And he's just a celebrity CEO. He doesn't do anything. We had this conversation a few weeks ago. When you're the CEO of a company, you're a busy guy. You eat, sleep, and breathe that company. You think Elon Musk is the CEO of 9 different fucking companies? And he's running all that shit? He's a fucking cartoon character that they stick the face on all these businesses. And he's just like this celebrity CEO. He's like the celebrity chef that doesn't have to cook a meal anymore. Just put their fucking face, Chef Boyardee, on the can of SpaghettiOs. Do you think that motherfucker made any spaghetti after he got all that Chef Boyardee money? No, he never cooked another fucking meal for the rest of his life. So, yeah, did the Elon Musk done do a fucking thing? He goes on Joe Rogan to smoke a joint. Then he goes to the cage fight at the White House. Then he goes on his private jet, he does celebrity shit. He does celebrity shit. He makes appearances and he talks about shit. If he has time to go sit on Joe Rogan's show and smoke a joint, how does he have time to be a CEO of a major company, let alone 8 fucking companies? Starlink, Tesla, rocket ship, whatever, X, fucking SpaceX, X, the Twitter. He owns former Twitter. I say Star. I can't even keep track of all these. The underground tunnel company. Like, what the fuck, dude? No, but he's not in charge of these fucking companies. I don't know. I don't understand how people don't see this. It's fucking obvious. The logic ain't logical when you put all that together. It don't compute. He's just a celebrity figurehead. Did he invest his own money into some of this shit? Yes. He's the major shareholder in certain. That doesn't, just because you put your money into a company doesn't mean you have to run it. He shows up to a meeting once or twice a year to act all tough and bitch people out, fire a couple people, make people get scared and be like, oh, fuck, Elon's coming in today. I can't have my mouse jiggler on my desk today. I have to actually do my work until that motherfucker goes home for the year. That's what it is. He's a celebrity CEO. He doesn't fucking do anything. He shows up with an entourage of TV cameras and a camera crew and a makeup artist and all that to, be celebrity CEO and make a video about whatever he did that day. I'm running my fucking company. Look at me. Here, when a rocket gets launched, he'll go and stand in mission control and he'll be like standing there with the camera pointed at him, pointing at people and, telling them to do their fucking job. That's about the extent of it. So anyway, I'm working this week hard. In fact, tonight I started tracking my time this week because I need to make sure that I know that I'm not being lazy right now because I'm still not being able to keep up with what I have to do. I will be at 40 hours tonight. I started tracking my time this week, Monday morning at 6:30 in the morning. And by the time I'm done with the live stream tonight, I'll have logged 40 hours. 40 hours in 3 days of being productive, sitting at my desk, doing shit. Whether it's grinding on freelance work, doing this live stream, doing other productive things. If it moves my life forward, if it's productive, if it's a job search, if it's anything productive, I'm putting it down. I'm already at 40 hours, 3 days. And I've still got 4 fucking days left this week. I'll probably be closing in on 100 hours by the end of the week of doing productive things. Not sitting on my ass. Basically sitting on my ass, watching TV, sleeping, and relaxing and doing anything fun doesn't count. And no, I'm not even going to the gym right now. I'm terrified to go to the gym because I'll get pulled over by the cops with the Palantir license plate scanner giving me shit and a ticket for having a check engine light. So the whole thing, man, I'll be at 100 hours. And that's what I've been doing. This is how I've been living since the day I came home from prison. But people do call me a lazy piece of shit from time to time. And I have to kind of sit back and be like, am I a lazy piece of shit? I'm going to write down everything I do this week. I did it last week. And I don't remember, but it was a lot. It was 77, 80 hours, maybe more. This week's even more. It's already... Tuesday and Wednesday this week were a lot more like deep. I dug deeper last 2 days than I did the week before, and that's making a difference now. Got up an hour earlier, etc. But so, like I said, I'm not a thousandaire, but I got an invoice in the bucket. Another one will go out this week, a bigger one than this week, and I'm moving the ball forward. I'm doing my job. I get paid from the bakery on Friday. That's another part-time job. Like I said, I made $25 selling photography this week. That's one of my 7 or 8 hustles that combined I survive off of. And like I said, I had a few credit cards with some small limits I can dump some bills onto and just max the bitches out. But I had to sit down yesterday like I do and like I talk about and update, quicken, reconcile all my accounts. I have like 22 accounts that need to be reconciled on a regular basis. I'm the brokest motherfucker with the most accounts you've ever seen. And I have to keep track of all this shit. Like I said, I got $25 from a stock photo. So I had to enter in the $25 in stock photo sales. Then there's a transfer to PayPal. Then there's a transfer from PayPal to checking. So that's like 6 fucking transactions just to get $25 from my photography to be able to track what's going on with all the money and shit. It also forces me to log into all these accounts at least once every week or every 2 weeks. I catch problems. My PayPal account was shut down and locked out. I would say it was like 6 months ago. I've had a lot of problems with PayPal. And I started a new PayPal account. I logged in after like a month or 2 and they locked my account again. And I had to get busy. I had to get nasty about it. And I've had no problem since. They've fixed the problem and I'm good now. But at least for now. But I have to log into all this shit just to make sure it's all legit and working and stuff. And so I did that yesterday. It took 2 hours because I skipped a week. It wasn't 2 whole weeks, but it was longer than it should have been. And then after I reconcile all 22 fucking accounts, I gotta go and I gotta go through a spreadsheet where I track all of my recurring bills every month. All the bills that are month to month or quarterly or anything like that, they're in a spreadsheet. And it's a complicated, it's a well-formed spreadsheet. We'll just leave it at that. And I have to check off. I put a checkbox next to each one that's paid. That updates another spreadsheet. So I got a spreadsheet that shows me, it basically shows me at the top, what do you need by the first of the month at the end of this month? And it'll say with rent due on the 1st and all the bills this month, this is how much you need. This is how much you have in the bank right now. It's usually negative. It's usually less than what I need, especially on the 1st of the month. And then it'll be like, okay, what are your outstanding invoices? The invoices that are actually in a client's hand that you're waiting to get paid for, put that in. Then what's the expected amount of money that you're going to make from client work this month? How about Google? Are you going to get paid by Google this month? How about the bakery? I've got a spreadsheet that I've been entering in every paycheck. It comes down to within like $1 or $2. If I enter in how many hours I worked for a pay period at the bakery, it'll pretty accurately calculate what my direct deposit's going to be after taxes and all that. So I can look at that and say, okay, how much more money are you getting from the bakery this month? Boom, put that in. And so and then it says, okay, at the end of the month, so right now, without the car repair, at the end of this month, we still have days. Without the car repair, after I pay rent on the 1st of the month, I would still be a thousandaire. I would have more than $1,000 to my name after all the bills for this month are paid and rent is paid on the 1st. And the spreadsheet shows me that. And that's when I can sit back and go, ah, it's not, because it's what it's telling me is things are not as bad as you think. Because I get it in my head that things are really, really bad. And that feeling multiplies the longer I go without actually looking and just watching the shit show of money coming in and out and all the crap going on and just trying to get through the week. But then I can take 2 hours to sit down, block everything else out, look at the situation and really dig in and find out exactly down to the penny what's going on. Like, I had 2 pennies fall out of my pocket and I had to account for that as a transaction, lost money. I must have like pulled my wallet out and 2 pennies fell out that were supposed to be in my pocket. They weren't there. Had to account for that because it's accounting. You have to, shit, where'd my pennies go? It wasn't like I was, they say that that the Grand Canyon was formed when a Jewish guy dropped a penny down the crack in a sidewalk and went digging around for it. But I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be digging around. I'm not going to dig a Grand Canyon looking for a penny that I dropped on the ground. But I still need to account for that shit so that the system lines up and it's not telling me the numbers are off. So that's the level I'm at. But once I did that yesterday, I sat back and I'm like, if the car only costs me a few $100 this time to fix, I'll be all right. And I'll get rent paid on the first, and things will be a little tight. I have to wait a little longer to buy the hard drives and so it just put me in a different frame of mind. So get organized with your fucking money. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people who just, the extent of which they balance their funds is every now and then they log into online banking to look and see how much money they have in their account. And they skim through the transactions to see if anything shows up that doesn't look like it belongs. So they have no idea how many Netflix and Disney Plus and HBO subscriptions are coming out they're not paying any attention to any of that shit. They just log in once in a while and be like, yep, I still got money. All right. Get paid next week. Okay. But then, you go to pay a bill and all of a sudden you see $300 missing and you're like, what the fuck? Where did that go? And then you got to sit there and scramble and like, what the fuck? Why am I missing $300? And it ends up being some bill that got automatically paid that you forgot about or whatever. Well, I don't have that problem because all that shit is being tracked. The only problem for me is at the end of if I go 2 weeks without doing it, the anxiety goes up because the longer I go without like nailing it down, the more chaos builds and the more I don't know what's coming in and what's going and what's due and what's not and what the fuck's going on. And then I end up stressing out, and most of the time needlessly. JS says nobody in their 20s would know how to reconcile a checkbook. People in their 20s don't even know what a check is. I'm telling you, all these girls at the bakery that are in their, early 20s, we were talking about checks one day. They didn't even know what the fuck I was talking about. They don't know what a check is. I'm like, I have a checkbook. Like, you need to have that shit. Like, that can, like, having a checkbook has saved my ass a few times. You go to pick up your fucking car that just got done. And the credit card machine's broke. How you going to pay for that shit? How you going to pick up your car? Oh, I can write you a check. Okay, we're done. If you don't know what a fucking check is, you're fucked. No, you can't write a check at fucking McDonald's or the grocery store or whatever, but yeah, reconcile. And here's the thing, even the people these days that use tools like Quicken, QuickBooks, things like that, all those tools are just full of AI bullshit, or they automatically link to your bank account and automatically download your transactions and sort them all out for you. Like, what's the fucking point of having Quicken if you're just going to import all your transactions from the bank. So what, you got 2 online banking statements to look at now, and you're not actually doing anything. You're not actually, like, I don't do that shit. All the accounts in Quicken are manual accounts. I will not link them to a bank. I go to my online banking and I look at everything and I enter the transactions manually. And do you know how many times I find a mistake? Do you know how many times I see, oh, I need to cancel that subscription, or, oh, that I didn't buy that shit. That's a fraudulent charge on my credit card. Like, I catch things all the time. And I've been doing this. I started doing this back in, like, I've done it at different periods in my life, but I would say around 2020, I took it seriously again because I was slipping, and I was having that, I was living that paycheck to paycheck life, and I never bounced a check, but I would all of a sudden have no money in the bank and have no fucking idea why. And then I'd have to sit there and figure out, like, why did my account go from having $800 to like $50 in the last week? And it would be like, well, there's this bill and you did that and you forgot about that. Oh yeah. And you went and bought groceries that you forgot about, and like all that crap. And a lot of, that's how most people live now. And so I was like, one day I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And it was when I started to track my shit. My credit score improved by over 100 points in less than a year, because just by being organized about it and tracking shit. At first, I was just using a Google spreadsheet to make sure I was on top of things. And I got more complicated, and I got into the YNAB system, but I only used the accounting tool. The whole budget side of that, I just threw in the trash because it's a cult. And if you don't know how to use it and you don't do it the way they want you to, it's useless. And it didn't work for me. But the accounting tool is better than Quicken. The actual accounting side of that app is better than Quicken. I would rather use it, but it's more expensive. And Quicken was like $30 a year. I'm like, yeah, may as well. And it's not bad. Quicken has been more productive and quicker for me to use than Notion. I made my own accounting software. That's the level of, like a week after I got out of prison, I made my own accounting software. So like, that tells you that's how important it was to me that I was not going to get off on the wrong foot when I come home from prison. That was like one of the most important things for me, because I'm poor now. And when you're poor, you really got to pay attention to your fucking money. So I was tracking my EBT card. I knew exactly, I can tell you right now, every single thing that I ever bought with an EBT card, I could pull it up right now and list out the whole fucking thing. I could tell you exactly how much I spent your money on junk food. I could tell you exactly how much of your money went for me to eat pizza on my EBT card. I'm not going to, but I can. I can tell you down to the penny. All I'm going to say is, if you don't do that, and most of you don't have that much of a complete, you might have one bank account and a job. Like, that's pretty fucking easy to track. Maybe a couple of credit cards on top of that. But when you start I can handle the complexity of having 20 different random accounts. And these are like, I have 2 stock photo accounts. Etsy, I sell photos on Etsy. YouTube, the money I make on YouTube is an account. Money comes in, it gets transferred to a bank account, it's yada, yada, yada. I have a credit card processing account. I got my digital chicken bucket. Plug time. Go to donate.litgood.com. You want to pay for my car repairs this week. Boom, drop it in the chicken bucket. Donate.litgood.com. That's a credit card processing account. Chicken bucket money goes in there. Invoices get dropped in there when a client pays with a credit card. Then that gets transferred So I have an accounts receivable for freelance. That's an account. Then that money transfers to the credit card processing account. Then that goes to a checking account. That's 6 transactions right there that get entered into a book. So I know where the money's going, where it's moving, when it, this transaction was scheduled for this day. The other bank account still shows that it's pending and not completed. All that crap. I know what's going on. And I think I skipped a week and a half, and it took me 2 hours to get caught up yesterday. And I was also doing my laundry at the same time I was doing my bookkeeping. So it may have only been an hour because I was also fucking around with the washing machine doing my clothes. All I'm going to say is my credit score went up. Honestly, the fact that I have credit cards right now and I was able to do that in spite of being homeless and getting out of prison and having a big clusterfuck of a life, yet somehow I was able to get my shit together that good, it's because I got organized with my money. And am I perfect? Absolutely not. No. Do I have the compulsive spending habits? Yes, but the way I control that is I always have a list of things that I either need or want, but need. And every time I get paid, it doesn't matter who it's from. When my client pays me this week, I go straight to Amazon or something else and I cross something off my list, and that's my money. That's my shopping habit. But instead of just like going to the fucking mall and spending it on some dumbass shit, I've got a list of things that would actually improve my life. I need something for the kitchen. I got an air fryer one day, a water filter. My friend gave me a microwave, so that didn't come from that. But, and then I go grocery shopping. I go and get whatever's on the grocery list, and I can never afford a whole grocery list because to fill a grocery cart's like $10,000 now in this economy. So no, I don't know how anybody affords groceries. But the reason I was able to get my credit score to go up in spite of never being as broke and fucked up as I am right now is because I got organized with my finances and I track every fucking penny. It doesn't mean I'm responsible all the time. But I track every single, I know to the penny how irresponsible I can be. And I'm really not that irresponsible because when you keep a list, if you are one of those people that has to go out and spend money, because I know compulsive shoppers that just go out, they'll go out on the weekends and just buy a bunch of shit. And then they come home and their garage and their attic and it ends up going in a pile of, because you just went randomly, you went to Kohl's and you bought a bunch of crap that was on sale because it was on sale. But you fell for the Kohl's scam where they mark everything up really high so they can put it on sale and sell it for whatever they intended to sell it for in the first place and just make you believe you got it on sale when it wasn't ever on sale. People go out and do that shit. Look what I got at TJ Maxx. I got a big stuffed rabbit for, it's not even fucking Easter. Yeah, it was on closeout. We can use it next Easter. Fuck you. You suburban housewife, you fucking dingbat. No, I don't do that. I have a list, a comprehensive list. The reason I was able to get my house put together when I moved into this house, you'll see it someday. I'll do a house tour. I keep selling. You just got to wait until I get around to cleaning the house to my liking. I made a list within 1 week of being in this house in a spreadsheet of all the things I wanted to do to the house. I designed my space exactly how I wanted it to be laid out. I measured things with tape measures. I really thought it out. I didn't draw it. I didn't draw any of it. It was all in my head. But I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to put things and what went where and what would be on that list. And I made the list. And then I just worked at it. And it took me, honestly, I just crossed off the last thing on the list like maybe a month or two ago. And I've been in this place for a year now. So it took me a whole year to build my space the way I wanted it done, one piece at a time. So instead of going out and buying a bunch of dumb shit at the mall because, oh, I got money today, or going out and getting drunk or doing stupid shit, I would look at my list and go, I can do that. I can do that this week. Let's cross that one off. Make the house a little bit more livable, make it a little more comfortable, make it feel like home, you know. Oh, I need this thing for my kitchen. Then I don't go out and eat. I eat fast food when I go to the bakery job and I need to take a lunch break. And maybe once every 2 months, I'll cave in and go to a drive-through because I'm lazy and I'm not feeling like cooking when I go home. Otherwise, I make all my own food at home. But I'm organized down to the penny. Other than a couple of transactions went through today on bill payments. I didn't enter them into my system, but I crossed them off on one of the spreadsheets, and I generally know I don't need to worry about it for at least next Tuesday would be the best. That's about as far as I want to go without doing it again. And if I do it next Tuesday, it'll take an hour or less. If I didn't log into all those accounts, I wouldn't have even known that I made $25 in stock photo sales if I didn't log into that account once a week. I was like, oh shit, money. Booyah, $25, baby. You know, the $25 is $25. It all goes to hookers and blow, you know, it all adds up. So I don't really know what's going on right now. Crunching the numbers put my mind at ease. I feel like my faith is being tested really hard this week, and we'll get into that in a bit. Blue sky, don't leave. You're going to be glad you stuck around, as you know what I'm talking about. I don't believe God brought me to Houston, Texas to make me fall flat on my face. I just don't believe that. Things get stressful. Over the last year, I can count. It's probably every month I've had a nervous breakdown of some kind. Every month it seems like there's a day or two where I'm freaking out about something. So I don't know why I'm here. I really don't know why I'm here, but I don't believe he sent me here to fall on my face. And so another thing that I do, I talk about this a lot. I can look back a year ago and I say, am I better off now? And a lot of you leave this in the comments that like you always point out how much better things are. You're like, throwing me that encouragement and whatnot. And I appreciate all of that, all the kind words and everything. But I have to do this too. I have to look back and say, am I better off today than I was a year ago? Where was I a year ago today? A year ago. A year ago today, right now, June 24th, 2025, I was living in this place for 3 weeks. I just moved into this place. I'd been living here for 3 weeks. I was riding my bicycle 50 miles a day, up to 4 days, maybe 5 days a week to go to that bakery job, 50 miles a day in the Houston 90-degree heat, which once again doesn't bother me, but it is that's its own animal. I did not have a car at all. Just to go get groceries, I'd either have to walk with a backpack to the grocery store at the end of my street, this crappy ass Walmart grocery store, or have groceries delivered. I was sleeping on a camping cot, a Coleman camping cot. That was my bed. And anytime I wanted to sit and relax, I was sitting in a cheap ass folding camp chair. My living room chair was a folding camping chair. And I had a $5 plastic table from Target as a coffee table or whatever you want to call it next to my folding camp chair. I didn't even know how I was going to pay rent for July a year ago. There was a very generous viewer. I don't know if he pops up I have to look him up sometime and just reach out to him and say what's up someday. There was a guy who watches this video channel who, you remember there was a guy who was trying to give me a car. Maybe I should have taken him up on that. Hindsight 2020. But, to have a car shipped all the way to Texas from California, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of, it's not that I didn't trust the guy. It's just that I didn't know what I was getting into. Anyway, a guy donated to the Digital Chicken Bucket to pay for this car to be shipped here from California. And wanted me to coordinate it all and have it all work out. Well, this was at the exact same time that I was moving into this place. And I needed to come up with money for a security deposit, first month's rent, U-Haul, and other stuff. And so that money got dipped into to pay for my move. And was that a bad thing to do? I don't really feel that bad about it. Things all kind of worked out in the end. The guy wanted me to buy a car with the money. My thought process was I was going to pay for the move and then put money back in the bank and then work it out with that guy in the car. And so I was in the process of doing that when the money fell into my lap to go buy a car, and I had a bigger budget for a car. And I just felt like it would be better to go look at a car in person, inspect it, actually drive it. And I also didn't know what the process was for buying a car and getting it put on the road legally. And now that I've had to do that, I know the ins and outs. I know the process. I know that you can do it in a day. I bought the car on a Sunday. It was legally on the road with license plates and everything on Monday. And so I was all good. I drove it to my bakery job with no license plates on the first day that I owned it because I went from the bakery to the tax office to get the license plates straight shot. So I only had to go 25 miles praying that I didn't get pulled over. But I also had like a temporary permit that I printed from the internet that actually allowed me to go to the tax office to get my license plate legally. So I was covered. So all of that was a year ago. I had just moved in here, and that donation that guy dropped actually smoothed out what would have been a very stressful move. And I would have been struggling to get through my first month here. And because of that influx of the chicken bucket, it actually made everything smooth and comfortable. And I never felt like I had to work for the month of June to pay for my rent in July, but I never had to be stressed out. I never got down to my last $5 and had a panic attack. I never had that kind of mindset. And so I can look back a year ago from today, and whatever's bothering me today, whatever's going on, the list of bad things, the list of things that are driving me nuts right now is better than the list of things that were driving me nuts a year ago. And everything I can honestly say things are significantly better today than they were a year ago, even if I have some problems. So I'm okay. That helps keep my mind in the right place. Now, I fully understand that not everybody out there can look back a year ago and say that you're doing better today. I'm going to read a story from a guy on LinkedIn here in a few minutes. He definitely can't say that his life was better a year ago. When I went to prison on August 12th, 2022, I couldn't look back a year ago and say that my life was better. I just had the FBI drive a tank into my fucking house and put me in prison for 2 years for a Twitter post. And then I lost everything I ever owned, my career and everything. And I was stuck in a dungeon for 14 months, not even able to see the sun. I didn't even see the fucking sun for 14 months. Do you know what that does to your eyes and your skin? to not have sunlight for 14 straight months, to not see the sun. Like, you forgot what the sun looks like because you're in a fucking dungeon, rotting away for 14 months. Like, just let that sink in. Like, that's not, when you go to prison, they let you go outside. But when you're waiting for trial in a federal case, they torture you. Part of the game that the federal government does is the Spanish Inquisition. And they torture you. They torture you to extract a confession out of you. And so I can look back a year ago now and say I'm way better off today than I was a year ago. A year before that, so last year, a year before that, I was homeless and I was still better off. So last year, I was way better off than a year ago because I was homeless the previous year. And when I was homeless, I could look back and say, I'm better off than I was a year ago, because a year ago I was stuck in prison. Hadn't seen the fucking sun for about, I don't know, 22, 23, 10 months. Well, 3 years ago, I was stuck in a dungeon, hadn't seen the sun in 10 fucking months. Now, the year before that, I could look and say, yeah, life was a hell of a lot better. So ever since 2022, August of 2022, so June of 2022, things were all right. I had a good job. Things were going well. June of 2023, I hadn't seen the sun for 10 fucking months. June of 2024, I was homeless. June of 2025, I was here. June 2026, my place is finished. Like, I built my space the way I wanted it to be. That, like, I literally can't buy a plant stand. I would not have any place to put a plant stand. I mean, there's a couple of little doodads I could get on Amazon that I've bookmarked for this or that, but it's not really on my priority list right now. My place is done. Yeah, prison stole my time. But honestly, a lot of the stuff I've been through since I've been out was worse than being in prison. Just having, like, I got something to talk about. Well, keep that train of thought. I don't know. We're at an hour and 37 minutes, and I'm definitely in the zone. I've got a lot to talk about. I didn't get through half my notes last week, which is better than winging it. But if you are one of the people who maybe you've gone through some shit, whatever, if you can look back a year ago and see that you're better off today than you were a year ago, you can use that as another technique to help calm your mind down when you start spiraling on that downward spiral of one thing leads to one, check engine light leads to this and that and the other thing. And before you know it, I'm already like, I'm going to be fucking homeless and going back to prison. Like I said, like that spiral that I shared with you earlier. You can look back a year ago and say, yeah, I got problems today and it fucking sucks and it's pissing me off and I've got like knots in my stomach and up and down mentally right now. And some other things are going on that are, it's a roller coaster. It's literally a mental roller coaster I'm on right now. And I can look back a year ago and say things are better. And if they continue on the path, I could look back a year from now and say, wow, things really got better. And I hope that continues. I hope that I can keep that roll going. We'll just go from there, I guess, and see how it goes. And, I have to tell myself, I've been through worse. No, I'm going through some shit this week. I've been through worse. I think going to fucking prison for 2 years counts as worse than a check engine light. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that I don't realize this when I'm getting agitated about something that's the here and now, because the here and now is always like, oh, woe is me, you know, everything sucks. Dog, you were in prison 2 fucking years ago or whatever. 3 years ago, you were in prison. You didn't see the sun for 10 fucking months. I can go out and see the sun every day. It's so sunny in Houston. I can go out inside and be like, the sun, fuck, oh my God, it's too fucking bright. Do you know what I would have fucking done to see the sun during the 14 months where I couldn't see the sun? The first time I saw the sun, it fucked my skin up. It fucked my eyes up. I sat down on a bench and you don't want to cry around, when you're in prison, but I had tears coming down because I was like, I'm telling you, go lock yourself in a fucking dungeon for 14 straight fucking months and then go out and see the sun for the first time and tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. Anybody who's for the death penalty, that's the easy way out for those motherfuckers. Let them rot in prison. Let them spend the rest of their life in prison. That's worse than death. It's worse than death. Anybody who's been in it, I know there's some people who watch this channel. If you've been in jail or prison, chime in. Would you rather be dead or prison? Most people would say dead. The death penalty is the easy out. Life in prison, you get to sit there in that shithole wondering when your last day is going to be, knowing that you're never going to fucking see any other thing but this fucking shithole every day for the rest of your life. That's worse than death. That's worse than death. If I knew that the rest of my life was going to be nothing but prison shit every fucking day for the rest of my life, I would have definitely killed myself. I won't kill myself. But if I was spending if I got life in prison, then I would kill myself. Then I was like, you're dead anyway. You're dead anyway. They're just dragging it out. One's quick, one's short. One's quick, one's long. You're basically dead anyway. Life in prison's worse than the death penalty. But anyway, I think I've had enough chat about, all that. So we're just going to jump through the screens here. Thank you to all the channel members who popped in today. We've got 6 channel members on this channel. We got Angels in Our Midst, Blue Sky, Oddball, Keyrod, Alex, Jared Smith. And I know JS, you're like a honorary channel member. And we're all good. You want access to the Discord server, just hit me up. Let me know. You're in. $2 a month. $2 a month. It all goes to hookers and blow, of course. And if you want to join the channel and be an elite member of this squad, you can just go to where the channel is on YouTube. You click on that join button next to the subscribe. You'll see a little bit of information right there, and you're good to go. I may even get back to doing the members only live streams. Or, I've been talking about, do we switch over to do a members only stream during the live stream night? I don't know how that all works. But anyway, it's that time. It's that time. Blue Sky is why I told you to stick around. And I'm telling you, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of Jesus Calling, because last week I had a bunch of pages lined up and we never got around to it. And so this week I've been reading it here and there, including today. And so I had some notes about all of I always take notes when I read it, but I don't read it every day. But today, but it always lines up with whatever I'm dealing with on whatever day I read it. I'm telling you, it's very uncanny. And today's entry was no exception. It said, "Hold my hand and trust. So long as you are conscious of my presence with you, all is well. It is virtually impossible to stumble while walking in the light with me. I designed you to enjoy me above all else. You find the deepest fulfillment of your heart in me alone. Fearful, anxious thoughts melt away in the light of my presence. When you turn away from me, you are vulnerable to the darkness that is always at work in the world. Don't be surprised by how easily you sin when you forget to cling to my hand. In the world, dependency is seen as immaturity, but in my kingdom, dependence on me is a prime measure of maturity." So before I analyze this, JS says, do you have a copy of JC, Blue Sky? I'm thinking of getting one. So I have bought multiple copies of this book. I always get the one with the leather cover that you see in the picture here, but there's like 10 different versions of the book cover. I just like this one the best. It's like a pleather cover. It's nice. It's a real nice book. I've bought the book for people. I have bought the book for more than one person. Even when I was in prison, I bought a copy of that book from somebody for a bag of granola and a couple of honey buns off of the commissary. And then I brought it home and I gave it to the girl that threw me out into the street to be homeless. So maybe she gets a good kick out of reading it once in a while, or maybe she threw it in the fucking trash. I don't know. But I even bought her a copy of this fucking book. I wish I'd kept it. I was like, maybe that one I shouldn't have given away. Fucking bitch. But anyway. So anyway, I've had multiple copies of this book, but they go to other people's hands. So I don't feel bad that I don't like holding books in my hand. It reminds me of being in prison. I don't think I've held a book in my hand since the day I came home. I just don't want to do it. I read everything electronically, on a screen, on my phone, whatever. And you've seen that I go to the Jesus Calling. There's websites where people have basically plagiarized and posted the book on blogger.com and stuff, and I show those on the live stream. And then on the Internet Archive, I found a PDF. I'll show it to you. I'll show you just one page out of the book. Somebody took the entire book, put it on a stand like this, and took a high-resolution photograph of every single page, and I found this archive. So I have every fucking page of this book as a high-resolution JPEG. And so I can that's how the slides got fancier over the last couple of weeks, because I stumbled upon that. And so, maybe I should buy a copy, but I've paid for this book like 3 or 4 times already. So, I don't feel bad about quote unquote stealing it from the internet at this point, because I'd buy 10 more of these books and give them to people. No problem. And if I was about to die, if they had an ebook version that was a PDF, I would have bought that and used it to make these slides. But the only ebook version they have is an EPUB, which is basically like an HTML. It's not the same. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work good for making slides. This pirated, or it's on Internet Archive, so it hasn't been taken down. And there's 2 different versions of the book on the internet. It's where the Wayback Machine is, and the Live Music Archive, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on the Internet Archive website. Books and all kinds of random crap. That's where I found this. All these pages of the book are super high res. They're like 300 DPI. They're big files. And so I can I can basically crop it, drop it into this Photoshop template, and there I go. I've got the page for the day. And, I'm only bringing in the pages that I need for the slides I need. But after like 5 years of doing this, maybe I'll have the entire book in slideshow form. But I prefer to read stuff on a screen. I'm probably going to end up getting a Kindle. As soon as the client that I helped write a book for decides that he wants to do the Kindle version of his book, I'm going to have to get a Kindle so I can test the book on the Kindle. But until then, and Kindles are kind of cool because you can load PDF documents. It's not just ebook or EPUB files. You can load PDF files. I have tons and tons of ebooks that I could just, you want some tinfoil hat nut job books like Strange Scenes from the Canyon, Anthony Sutton's books, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, anything in that genre. I'm almost guaranteed to have an ebook copy of it in my collection of ebooks. And I would love to have all that crap on a Kindle to just be like, boop, pop it up. But I don't have a Kindle, and I don't really have a reason to have one yet. So I'm not just going to buy one on a whim. So in this entry, hold my hand and trust, so long as you are conscious of my presence with you, all is well. Isn't that what I just said? Didn't I say that at some point today? I got all this crap swirling around, and I just have to keep telling God I trust him. In fact, when I got pulled over by the cop, I was scared because it's not just getting pulled over for an expired tag. I got to deal with my probation officer being up my ass now and all these other things. And I just sat back. I was nervous, but I was like, God, I know you're not gonna, I know you didn't bring me here to go through, I know you've got my back. Show me that you got my back, Jesus. And the cop comes up and she's like, here you go. Have a good day, sir. I'm just giving you your license back. I'm not going to give you a ticket for that. And then the probation officer was like, all right, thanks for letting me know. We're good. Okay, prayer answered. Prayers answered. Trust God. Trust him. I have a hard time. And I think part of some of the crap I'm going through over the last few months, when I have weeks like I'm having right now, is he's like, put me to the test. Are you going to trust me? Fearful, anxious thoughts melt away in the light of my presence. And they do. I'm getting better. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better at leaning into trusting God whenever I'm having these anxiety spirals. I'm not even the same person I was in 2022, where I lived in anger all the time. Yeah, I'm angry. You go to my X account, go check me out on X, go to links.litgood.com and click that X button. That's my dark side. That's the doctor. Which one's the wolf? Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? Is Mr. Hyde the wolf? Like, Mr. Hyde is on X. Dr. Jekyll is on YouTube right now. There's a big difference between my X account and here. I can't cross that line of putting up a tweet that gets me sent back to prison. But I'd say like once a week I get an email from X saying that they banned one of my posts. And then when they do that, they won't tell you what post it was and why. You just have to like, fuck you, figure it out yourself, Adam. And then I post a thing to Elon Musk in support saying, how am I supposed to be a good little boy if you won't tell me what I did wrong? How am I supposed to learn how to be a good little boy on X? So X is the cesspool of the internet. It's a pit. It's the pit of despair. Honestly, I think X is worse than Gab. I'm positive. In fact, with that Carmelo Anthony case and that African-American youth going to jail for stabbing that kid, Yes, I can 100% assure you that the things I've seen on X after that went down are worse than anything I ever saw on Gab ever. 100%. 100%. I don't know why Gab exists anymore because we got X. X is basically Gab. Like, Gab had a reason to exist, but now since Elon took X over, there's no reason to have Gab anymore. We don't need it. There's no reason to be on Gab now. I'm not. I don't know if I ever will have a Gab account again. I might reach out to Andrew Torba at some point. I just don't know what to say because I know the guy personally. And I've just stayed away from that whole crowd since I came home from prison. But I know a lot of people on Gab were pissed off at Andrew for basically giving the FBI my IP address and let it. But I wasn't hiding either. They could have found me in about 10, 15 fucking minutes if they did any homework. It wasn't like it wasn't like I was hiding behind a VPN with a fake name. I did have a fake name, but it really wasn't a fake name. And there's a story about that, and it's legit. It actually is my real name. It's the name on my birth certificate, not my name, my adopted name. And that's a whole nother long story. So back to this Jesus Calling post. You know, I told you I'm having a rough week in a lot of different ways this week. And sometimes I feel like my entire life is just hanging by this very precarious thread. And it can be scary. You know, you're hanging off of a cliff holding on to a thread, one piece of paracord between you and death. And I've had some scary conversations. I get feeling uneasy about things, juggling bills, getting pulled over for some shit. I want to renew my damn license plate. I can afford it. I can't get my car. I can't do it. There's some waivers and shit that I can look into. There's different ways around it. If this continues, my prayer, my hopes is that God just takes care of it this week and puts it in the past, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. I can go back to every time I turn the key on that unreliable car. Am I going to get to the grocery store or am I going to call AAA? But, like I said many times tonight, probation didn't care. Got my car to the shop. Still don't know what it's going to cost. But I don't think I've dealt with the garage enough to know they're not going to rip me off, but at the same time I'm just got to hold my breath and wait. I wanted to try a different garage, a little bit of a smaller shop that works on German cars, and I was about to take my car there, and when I called that garage, they told me that they're moving their location. They have to relocate, and they're in the process of that right now. And they're closed for like 3 weeks, and they're not going to be open until July 1st. The new location's the same distance as the old location, so it's not far. It's too far to walk, but it would be like a 7-mile bike ride each way. I think about 7 miles. Yeah. 8 miles each way, probably. So it'd be like a 16-mile bike ride. 8 miles to ride my bike there to pick up the car. 8 miles to ride my bike home after dropping it off. An 8-mile bike ride is like 20 minutes to half an hour. So, in fact, in certain times of the day, it's faster to ride my bike. Especially on the roads that I would have to take to get there and back. If at certain times of the day, I'll be the fastest one on the road if I'm on my bicycle. So one cool thing, when I dropped off my car yesterday, I've walked back and forth to this because of my piece of garbage car. I've walked back and forth to this auto garage a number of times. And there's this big, giant, prickly pear cactus on the side of the road in a drainage ditch that I keep walking past. And I'm like, damn, that's huge. It's like as tall as me. And so yesterday on my way back from the garage, I had a little hiking backpack on with a water hose, Camelback. And so I went up to the prickly pear cactus, and I'm not going to grab it right now and show you, but I pulled off a pad off of this cactus that's 10 inches long and about 6 inches wide. And I got stuck with all kinds of cactus needles and everything else. And so like I said, I got stuck with a bunch of cactus needles and everything else. And I was pulling cactus needles out of my thumbs and fingers the whole way home. I somehow got it in the backpack without poking a hole in my water bladder. And I'm going to put it in a pot and put it outside on this little table that I have next to the stairs coming up to my front door, and just have a cactus. I had a prickly pear cactus in my front yard when I was arrested. And in one summer, it went from being like a few pads to being about as tall as me. Like, new pads would shoot out of this thing and grow to like a foot long or more and fill up in like 3 weeks' time. They would go from a little nub, and 3 weeks later, it'd be this big giant thing, tennis racket size pad. And so I know these things grow like crazy, but I have to leave it sitting I put it in a place where I won't accidentally grab it, because there's microscopic little needles. There's big giant hunk needles that are like 2 inches long, but then there's a bunch of ones that you don't see. All I got to do is touch that thing, and I'm going to be pulling spikes out of my hand for a half hour. I'm going to use tongs when I put it in the pot, but I'm going to plant this thing, and it'll live in a pot outdoors all year long here. It doesn't get cold enough. If the one on the side of the road doesn't die where it is, where I got it from, this isn't going to die. But within like a year, this thing will be as tall as me. And it'll have to be in a pot. I'll have to keep, as it grows, I'll have to keep putting it in a bigger pot. And if pads fall off, because sometimes they get too heavy and they flop over and fall off, you can take the ones that fall off and plant them and have I could have a whole bunch of cactuses. I could put a whole bunch of cactuses around a house that I'm living in and have like extra security. Like, if I buy a house of my own, I can put a ring of cactuses all the way around the house so somebody can't just break in through the window, right? Some thief wants to come rob me. Well, you're going to have a bunch of cactus needles in your fucking crotch if you don't watch it. So that was kind of fun. I brought a cactus home. I'd been wanting to grab a piece of this cactus for over a month. I was just going to walk over and grab it one day, just go out for a walk for fitness. But on my way home from the auto garage yesterday, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting this thing. And then I'm carrying it like this with my thumb and my finger, trying to keep from getting stuck. But I still had like a mile and a half to walk. And then I'm like, I can probably get this thing into my Camelback without, if I'm careful, I won't put a hole in my water bladder. And I did. I pulled it off. So I got a cactus now. Free plants. And that's about the easiest thing to grow. Put it in some dirt, put it outside. You never, other than like when it gets too big for the pot, put it in a bigger pot. So another interesting thing, this was today. So I've been busting my ass this week. I'm trying to set myself up so I don't have to work Saturday and Sunday on client projects. I'm trying to knock it all out by Friday. Because a thing that's been persisting week over week. So I'm forcing myself to do more on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so even though I'm doing my own thing and I'm trying to build some kind of hustle just to survive right now, people still reach out to me on LinkedIn and other crap when job opportunities pop up. And I respond to them maybe 50% of the time now because I'm just kind of burned out from that. But today, a remote job came up. Somebody reached out to me, $128,000 a year to start. So when I first got the email, I was like, all right, copy, paste, send. I have a template. I just got to go copy and paste and hit send, attach my resume. Takes 15 seconds to respond to some of these people. I didn't put any effort into it. Well, that kicked off a conversation. We were going back and forth all day. And now it seems like I've got a really good shot. The job, the companies in Pittsburgh, I've worked for them in the past. They saw that I used to work for them. And I've worked for them off and on over several years. Like over a 20-year period, I've worked for them off and on over 20 different years at different times, different job titles, different roles, freelance, client. I have a lot of stuff in my portfolio from this company. But they're a corporation, so I'm a ex-con piece of shit, convicted felon with a criminal background. So, I can't even get a job at fucking McDonald's. So am I going to get a job at a corporation? Right? So I'm not going to put any real effort into this, but we kept going back and forth. We talked on the phone today, etc. And it's a fully remote job. If things went to a certain degree of, like, if I actually did somehow get the job, it could turn into a situation where they would want me to relocate to a city where they have offices. And they have offices in Dallas, Atlanta, but they're in Pittsburgh. And so I could move back to Pittsburgh. If I made $128,000 a year working for a company like that, I could afford to relocate back to Pittsburgh and actually be able to see my kids and shit. So I don't know if God wants this to happen. He can do it. I have no faith at all when it comes to that. Like, what you think about, you bring about. I've applied to over 1,000 jobs now. I think about it, and I guess I'm bringing it about because I couldn't even get a job at fucking McDonald's. This would be if I actually get a bona fide job offer on paper, in writing, and then they take it away because they see that I'm a piece of shit felon. That'll be the fourth time that I've had a 6-figure job in my hand, paper signed, and then crumpled up and thrown in the trash because I'm a piece of shit ex-con felon who doesn't deserve to have a job at fucking McDonald's, let alone a major, Fortune 500 company. I don't really want to work for a Fortune 500 company. Don't get me wrong. It's not the kind of, I didn't like working for them the last time I did. But 128 large to take a job doing what I'm good at, I could put up with some shit for a while and get that bankroll going and get a car and do the things that I'm trying to do and that would be a very comfortable finale to my probation crap. And it would help me even with my freelance stuff. It would help me get a cushion to be able to get my freelance stuff figured. I mean, I'd be working 150 hours a week at that point. But I'd be making, with everything put together, I could possibly pull in $200K in a year if I got that job and was basically working another full-time job on top of it, going after client work and all that, all the other hustles. Obviously, things aren't, that's a hard life. but I could sock away so much money that I could protect myself from. I could go from being a thousandaire to a 10,000aire in not a lot of time, and maybe buy some kind of a house, even if it's a double wide in a trailer park, whatever, you know. But I'm not putting any eggs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting any eggs in this basket. But I do have a history with that company. I know people there. I know high-ranking people in a company of, I think they got 80,000 employees now, and I know people who are, I know people who are in the big glass tower in the sky that I could send an email to and say, hey, can I use you as a reference? I'm not going to tell you who the company is right now. I mean, if you probably could figure it out based on what I've said. If you a couple of clicks of the mouse and some Google. Like I said, I don't expect anything to come of it. So but it took up a lot of my time today, going back and forth on the phone and everything else. And I didn't leave on bad terms last time I worked for them. But I didn't work for them long enough to leave a paper trail, or you know what I mean? And I'm trying not to think negatively about it, but like I said, I've had the experience since I was released from prison where over and over and over again, not just the six-figure jobs that I get handed, but the Mick job as well. I can't get a job at Mickey D's, Buc-ee's, or the Greasy Slee's burger joint. I can't get any of these fucking jobs. Couldn't get a job delivering a bag of food to someone's house. DoorDash rejected me because I'm the biggest piece of shit criminal felon who ever walked the face of the earth. Yet we have a president sitting in the White House who's convicted of 39 felonies or some shit. He's doing all right. So fuck all you motherfuckers. I don't care. And yeah, all it would take is, HR to go to my YouTube channel and see me going, fuck you motherfuckers. Nope. No job for you. But if you've been watching my channel, if you've been watching my attempted comeback since I started doing this YouTube thing, I'll go through the process. If you put me in front of important people, I'll fucking slay it. I'll fucking slay that shit. You put me in a room with the decision makers, the CEOs, the VPs, whatever. I have full confidence in my ability. I can demonstrate to anybody that I know my shit. I'm just as confident in that room as you see me talking right now. Do not give a fuck. I have a more professional do not give a fuck than I am on YouTube. It's a different version of me, but it's the same. Like, I have no fear at all about any of that stuff. I'll slay the interview. You put me in front of the decision maker. That's the key. You put me in front of the people that make the decisions. You put me in front of human resources, I'm not going to get the job. Human resources people are totally different. Human resources trash. They don't know how to pick good candidates because their criteria is shit. Like, their criteria that human resources people use to pick candidates is usually the opposite of what makes somebody a good candidate for a job. So they end up with a bunch of DEI retards with 27 genders and 6 pronouns on their fucking LinkedIn profile who don't know their fucking dick from a hole in the ground and can't do the fucking job because all the people that were qualified didn't come in with a rainbow colored shirt on June 1st. So, but if you want somebody that can do the fucking job and you put me in front of a leader, a decision maker in the company, I'm going to slay that shit. I'm going to slay it every fucking time. They used to make me the closer when I worked at a small agency. I wasn't the best person to go out and break the ice and get new prospects to come in the door. But when the salespeople would bring the prospects in, they'd be like, bring them into the conference room with me, sitting in the driver's seat doing the presentation. Bang. Soon as I get him in the room, I'm Don Draper in that motherfucker. I'm gonna get that deal. I'm gonna get that client. I've been doing this for 30 years. It's not like I just started doing it yesterday. So I have that confidence. I'll talk to the leader of the company. I don't have any problem. It's been like that my entire career. I have to sit in a room with some CEO who just, like Elon Musk flew in on his private jet to have a meeting about some product launch before he goes smoke a bowl with Joe Rogan on the podcast later on this afternoon or whatever. That's who I have to talk to all day. I'm not that guy. Obviously, I'm not making that level of money, but I have to be able to interact with those people. And a lot of people can't do it because they get nervous. They're like, oh, he's a rich person. I'm supposed to be nervous. They're just human beings. They're no different than you. They're not different than me. They have a lot of money. That's the only difference. Some of these people were as broke as me at some point in their life if they're the self-made types. I can pick out which ones were self-made and which ones were born with the silver spoon. They're totally different people when you talk to them. You pick that shit up fast. But anyway, I can be in the room with the CEO telling him that he's making a dumb mistake and tell him why and why he should do this other thing instead. And most people, not most people, but a lot of people that I know would be terrified of that. And they're just going to be yes men and they're never going to question and they don't have that confidence. I don't give a fuck. Fire me. A lot of people I work with at this bakery tell me, man, that would be funny to see you go work for their corporate office. I'm like, I'd last a week because I'd tell them a bunch of things they don't want to hear. And I don't feel like they would be the crowd to respond well to that. Just things I know. And, but I wouldn't give a fuck. And they'd send me packing it maybe a month. And I don't swear. In fact, when I go sit in these boardrooms and I'm the most polite person in the room, surrounded by a bunch of people motherfuckering and saying all kinds of crazy shit, making me feel like I could be myself, but I'm just going to be professional me. There's been times where I'm like, how am I not the craziest person here? I mean, the last professional job I had during the job interview, they tried to make me feel uncomfortable. They started talking down to me. They started criticizing certain things about my work, and they copped me an attitude, and they did all these things. And I have a spine, and I was like, yo, I was very professional about it, but I put them all in their place. And I had a response for everything they threw at me. And then when I got the job, the guy who was my direct boss, when we had our first one-on-one meeting, he goes, Adam, he's like, the reason that we hired you is because we tried to make you feel like crap during the job interview and you wouldn't take our shit. Like, that's what he said, word for word. He said, we purposely, when we were looking for someone to do your job, we would throw people under the bus and they would fall apart during the interview, and you just sat there and took it and you threw it back at us. And he's like, so that told me that you can go to these meetings with all these people that are worth tens of millions of dollars who are going to try and boss you around and who are going to try and boss around the designers on your team. And I know that you won't put up with their shit. And that's what we need right now. That's what they told me. They told me flat out that they hired me because I had a backbone and I wasn't just going to let someone walk all over me because they're rich and important. And that's exactly what my job was there. I had 5 designers that reported to me. 3 of them were junior level designers with not a lot of experience, like maybe just out of art school or whatever. And they were scared. They go to these meetings and there's all these big important vice presidents and shit in this meeting. And they're trying to present their design and they're getting shit on. And I'm like, back the fuck up. You're not going to put my designer under the fucking bus. I would step in and stop that shit cold and say, no, this is why we made these decisions. This is why we're doing it this way. the way that you want to do it would be a mistake, and here's why. And if I couldn't win the argument, my boss told me specifically, he's like, you've got full authority to fight and fight that fight. And he's like, if you can't get them to cave in when they're making a bad decision, then you come to me because I'm higher up on the ladder. So now I'll go to bat and I'll take a turn. And if I can't get them to do it, I go up one more to, your grand boss who's in charge of the whole department of 60 designers. And if she can't make it happen, she goes to my great grand boss, who's like third down from the CEO, and whatever he says is going to be the law of the land. And so we had a whole strategy around keeping important people from making bad decisions. And because a lot of this shit had been going on, and these people had been at the company, some of them had been at the company for 25 years, and they finally got themselves into positions of power, and they didn't want to see it all get fucked up. And they flat out told me that that's why they hired me, because they're like, we had like 4 people come in through this interview gauntlet, and they all crumbled the second that we started throwing them under the bus. And you're the only one that stood your ground and fought back. And we're like, finally, we got what we need. Like, they hired me because I fought back. And I didn't just sit there and be nice. And so I know. And I butt heads with clients all the time. But then we go out and have a beer and we all get along at the end of the day. Like, I learned, there's a place in Pittsburgh called Pepe's Cheesesteaks. And it's the best fucking cheesesteak. Fuck Philadelphia and their shitty ass cheesesteaks. Pepe's is where it's at. Way better. And it's not Cheese Whiz and all. You can get a bunch of different kinds of cheesesteak, but it's the bomb. You go to Pepe's for lunch, there's a line out the fucking door. And if you're not ready to order when it's your turn to order, they're going to be dicks to you, and they're going to be rude to you, and they're going to be, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And I know everybody that works there. I've had friends that work there. I know everybody there by name, and they know me. And I could be a dick right back to them. And I could get mad and be like, come on, man, it's been half a fucking hour. I got to go back to the office, and I still don't even have my food. What the fuck? And fuck you, Adam. Just go fucking wait like everybody else. Can't you see we're fucking busy? And they're dicks. They're dicks. They don't give a shit. They do not give a shit. And everybody that goes and eats there, they complain, and they're like, man, these people are such fucking assholes. And I'm like, yeah, and you're going to be back here again next Thursday getting another fucking cheesesteak, aren't you? And they're like, yeah, I am. You're going to come back. When you're good at what you do, I'm not advocating being a dickhead to everybody, but if you make the best cheesesteak you've ever had, and you got to line out the fucking door, you could be the soup Nazi. You can be a dickhead to everybody. And all those people get mad and tell you they're never coming back. All right, see you next Thursday. And they'll be back on Thursday again for lunch. Bitching about the lines, bitching about the bad service, bitching about your attitude, bitching about this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. See you next Thursday. And they're back again. So I learned that. I called it the Pepe's principle. When I was working for myself as a freelancer, I went through this period of time where clients were walking all over me. And I was having like nervous breakdowns all the time because I was being a people pleaser. And I was just trying to do everything they wanted me to do and jump when they said jump. And, if I go to the bathroom and I don't respond to my email in 15 minutes and they get all mad and blah, blah, blah. And if somebody emails me on Saturday at 5:00 in the afternoon and I don't get back to them on Monday and they get mad, I'm apologizing. And I just had this, like, I was a nervous wreck. I'd been freelancing for a year or two, and all these clients were just bossing me around and just kind of like, I was seeing a therapist. I had other things going on, not a psychiatrist, but like a counselor. I was seeing a counselor on a weekly basis. And this counselor was like, you don't have to put up with all that shit, right? And we had these conversations. And I started to look at it like, The Pepe's principle. The Pepe's principle. That's what it is. I go to Pepe's and they treat me like shit, and they even know me. Half of my friends are friends with them. I'm friends with them. Kinda. I mean, I partied with a few of them. They're dickheads. And I get mad. I'm like, I'm never coming fucking back here. Fuck you. See you next Tuesday. All right, I'm back. And I learned that my clients would be the same way. Oh, I'd get clients screaming at me because they didn't see enough progress on a project in 2 days. Screaming at me, exclamation points, calling me up, leaving me threatening messages saying they're going to cancel the job and blah, 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 this and that. I was getting beat up daily. And then I would finish a job and it would be the exact opposite. Oh my God, Adam, you're so fucking great. Thank you for doing it. Oh my God, we can't wait to hire you again. You did such a good job on this project. You made us look so good. We're getting all kinds of praise and accolades from all the people that have seen the work that you've done. And you made us look really good. Thank you so much. And just kissing my ass. And I started to realize that. I'm like, all these people that are threatening me and treating me like shit and getting pissed off week after week after week, as soon as the job gets done, they're fucking thrilled. And it's like they never got mad. They treat me like I'm the golden child all of a sudden, and they were never mad at me ever. And we all go out and have a beer and have a good time, and we're all friends, and we're sharing jokes back and forth on LinkedIn or whatever the fuck, and email jokes, and and then they hire me to do another job, and then they're right back to being a dick. And so I started being a dick back, or I started putting up boundaries and walls, and started to realize that I can push back on people and put them in their place if you do it professionally. And I never lost a client. In fact, when I felt like I was being treated badly, I would push back in a professional manner, and it would actually make the situation better. And we would end up with a better result for the project, or I would set boundaries that they wouldn't cross anymore, or, whatever the problem was would get resolved. And I just learned how to, working for myself for 6 years completely changed me as a human being, like in terms of how I worked. I went from being a people pleaser to being like, I want to call it a player, because that's not the right word, and then I went to work for a company where they fired me for going to the hospital for the birth of my son. And at that point in time, as far as my professional life went, I had no more fucks to give. Like, from that moment on, I was known as Adam doesn't give a fuck. Don't try to scare Adam. You can't intimidate somebody who doesn't give a fuck. You can't threaten to fire him. He doesn't care. Fine, fire me. Do I get some severance pay? I'll go on unemployment. What are we going to do? Like, how do you want to do this? How do you want to end this? Like, I didn't care. And that happened after the getting fired for, I literally got fired from a job for going to the hospital for the birth of my son. And it just was like, snap. It was like that movie Office Space, when the dude went to the hypnotist and then he went back to work and took a power drill and knocked his cubicle walls down, put his legs up on his desk, and he's like, fuck this place. I don't give a fuck anymore. And then they gave him a promotion. All the other people that did their job and kept their head down, they were getting fired, and they gave him a promotion because he came in, just put his legs up on the desk, said, I don't give a fuck about this place. Fuck them. All right, you got a raise. And that's what happened. That's fucking true. Like, that's truth in that movie. That is what happens when you start to just not care anymore. And I don't mean not care about the quality of your work and what you're doing, but don't let people intimidate you and boss you around and treat you like shit I've had people at the bakery try to do that here and there. Now, I work with a bunch of good people there, but when a little 20-year-old girl thinks she's going to boss me around, I'm like, you do know I don't give a fuck, right? Right? Like, I'm not going to do a bad job. I care about my work even here, but You think you can actually like say something that's going to make me nervous or something? Like, really? Go ahead. Yeah, play, have fun with your little games, but I don't give a fuck. So, and that's how you have to be. You got to be thick. You have a thick skin. You got to play the game. Um, the only time I have a problem when I'm meeting with people in a job interview kind of scenario is human resources. I always have a problem with human resources people, and I never get along with them. I never have a good conversation with them. I don't respect them. I consider them to be fucking useless human beings. They get in the way more than they help. I've got countless examples of how they're basically no company needs to have them. They're the most useless people at the company, and no respect. I don't give them respect. They don't respect me. To the point, if I went on a date with a girl and she was hot, and then I find out that her job title is human resources something or other, that's like an automatic DQ right off the rip. Bum, done. Bum, bum. It's over. Disqualified. No second date. I mean, I'd be borderline. I got to go to the bathroom and just bounce. I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom, but make sure I got my phone and my wallet and everything else off back in my pockets, because I might not come back to the table. I mean, I'm not that much of a dick. I'll finish out the date, give her the awkward hug. Yeah, I'll call you. Yeah, sure. I'll treat the human resources chick on our date the same way that she would handle my resume once she finds out that I'm a felon. Done. No consideration, no chance to explain herself. Just, we're done. We won't get along. If you're the kind of person who would have that job, we won't get along. Trust me, we will never get along. Cops. Like, I could never date. You think I could date a cop? A law enforcement chick? Fuck no. I couldn't date a girl who works for the government. I went on a date once with a girl who worked for the IRS. When I found out she worked for the IRS, I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. She started bitching about, well, if these fucking people would just pay their fucking taxes. And I'm like, yeah, we are definitely not gonna see eye to eye on this. Bye. So, yeah, there are certain jobs that would disqualify a girl from ever being my girlfriend just because of the job. I would never even, like, don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, you can judge a book by its. We do it all the time. Human resource. The cover of the Human Resources book is fucking shitty. Bad design. And the contents of the book are just as bad as the cover. I mean, the cover might be hot. She might have a nice rack and look beautiful and, have a whale tail sticking out the back or whatever. She might have it all the hair done and everything. And I'm going to be like, oh, you're human resources? Nah, I'm good. I'd rather date a whale than the hot chick with the whale tail. If she's, I'd pick the whale over the human resources chick at that point. It's a DQ. Certain jobs will not touch. School teacher, nope, done that. Don't work. I've had 2 girlfriends that were criminal justice majors in college that weren't even cops, and one of them never even worked in criminal justice at all. Still, nope. You got a criminal justice degree from any school, I find out about that. We could be married for 10 years and you could bring that up. I'll divorce you tomorrow. So if we ever did, my future wife, yeah, right. But, we're just talking about fantasy here. If I found out my future wife had a criminal justice degree that I never knew about and we were married for 10 years, if that was on Tuesday, we'd be divorced on Wednesday. How could you do such a thing? So this week I've been busting my ass and just trying to put it together, and get caught up with all the work that I got to do, and just trying to, because I keep accusing myself of being lazy. Other people do too. But I don't listen to them. I don't really care what anybody thinks, but I care about how I feel about myself. And I'm like, am I really being lazy? And I ask Grok and other AI bots, am I being lazy? And I'll share with the bot. But the bot's designed to kiss your ass and blow smoke up your ass so that you keep coming back to the bot. So, you know, Grok's never going to say you're a lazy piece of shit. Because then you might not come back. So like I said, I started tracking my time again. This isn't something I'll do forever. I'm just trying to get an idea of where does all my time go. But like I said, I've already logged 40 productive hours at the end of this stream tonight, and it's Wednesday, and I started logging this week at 6:30 a.m. on Monday morning. So pretty much relaxing, watching TV, sleeping, that kind of stuff. I don't really I'm not tracking. But if I'm doing something that's work, some kind of work, I'm tracking it. And I'm already up to 40 hours burned, and it's Wednesday. When I was homeless, I was doing this because I thought my probation officers were going to be up my ass. So I was living with this psychotic nut job who was my girlfriend at one point, and I don't know what she was when I got out of prison, but she was screaming at me, calling me a lazy piece of shit all the time. Yet I was tracking everything that I was doing meticulously because I thought I was going to have to answer to the probation people and all that kind of stuff. And so I was being a little bit overboard with being defensive about, am I really lazy? And the answer is no. In fact, whenever anybody did get up my ass, I was on point. This is what I did this week. Here's how many jobs I applied to. Here's this, that, the other thing. Bang, bang, bang. Well, I was doing that when I was homeless. But when I found out people weren't really up my ass, I pretty much kind of stopped because, it takes time to do that. Time I can spend doing something else. And so, like I said, by the end of this week, I might have 100 hours logged. And then I'll let AI and I came up with a plan for what I wanted to do each day this week. How many hours to put in on this, that, and the other thing. And AI and I agreed that nothing ever goes according to plan. So I didn't even put it on a Google Calendar or nothing like that. It's a text file in a notepad. And it was just a rough, here's what you should try and do this week. And I've stuck with some of the things. Some of the things fell through, and I've had unexpected things. Like today, that job lead. Shit, I probably lost 2 hours today going back and forth about that job opportunity. And so at the end of the week, I'm gonna track my time, compare it with the plan, and say, I'm asking AI, what the fuck can I do? Because here's 10 things that I need to figure out how to do. Where do I get the time to do them? How? If I'm putting in 100 hours productive time from Monday to Sunday, and I've still got 10 things that have gotten neglected and never even touched, how the fuck do I even do that? And that's the pattern I'm feeling right now. And the answer is you might not. Like, what? Am I going to go 200? Are there 200 hours in a week? I don't even know. We got 24 times 7 without sleep. Without sleep in 7 days, it's 168 hours. So if 168, if I subtract 100 of those, that's 68. If I subtract, let's see, 8. If I sleep 8 hours a night like you're supposed to, which I don't, but let's just say 8 times 7. I can't do math right now. 56, 68 minus 56. That gives me 12 fucking hours a week to watch TV and fuck around. 8 hours of sleep every night plus 100 hours of just work, 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 work. I got 12 hours left out of a whole week to fuck around, watch some Peaky Blinders or watch a fucking movie. Shit post on X, which I'm counting that as productive time, but I'm taking an X break because I'm kind of getting agitated about. I was talking about the COVID and the MAGA cult. They're getting on my nerves. The arguing about the pool for 10 fucking days or whatever it's been, screaming and yelling at each other about the pool, is kind of like, I got to step back from this because that one might get me sent back to prison. If I'm going to cross a line, say, I'm probably going to say, I hope you drown in the fucking pool or something, and then clank, clank, I'm back in prison. So I just got to keep my fucking mouth shut for a minute. But what do? We live in this fucked up economy. The economy, just like President Camacho would say, Idiocracy. I watched Idiocracy the week before the cage fights at the White House just to see, like, just to get caught up on, like, what's true, what's come true. And that movie is scary. I'm trying to get a couple of people at the bakery to watch it. And the one girl, I'm like, this is right up your alley. She loves Office Space. And I'm like, I can't believe you've never seen this. But now the World Cup is taken up. Everybody's into the World Cup now. I don't want to pay for another fucking subscription so I can watch soccer games. So I'll take a pass on that. I'll probably see a game here and there. Tell me if America gets to the finals. Otherwise, I really don't care. But the economy. How do I do this? Can I do this on the screen? Let me take a look. Give me 1 second here. Where is that? Can I find it in the Finder? Reveal in Finder. LinkedIn 1. Yes. Can I put them both up? No. That's all right, though. I can share my screen with this. Wait a minute. I know there's a better way. Do I have to... Oh, did I just fucking tell it to open Photoshop? Wait a minute. I got a web browser open. I can drop... Hold on. I can do this. Son of a bitch. Hope my Mac don't crash. Just opened up Photoshop. Fingers crossed. Hopefully that's not going to kill me. Quit Photoshop. All right, we're good. Photoshop's not that big of a deal anymore. If I'd opened up Premiere, see ya. that would have crashed my machine for sure. All right, so here we are. We got this guy on LinkedIn that I found. Now listen to this guy's story because I'm telling you, Donald Trump, that stupid son of a bitch, he keeps telling everybody about how great the economy is and all this and that. Let's see, we'll zoom in about there. And every single time I go to LinkedIn, my whole entire feed is filled with shit like this. John Marcus, something, something, blah, blah, blah. He's got the open to work thing. Now, I can't open up LinkedIn on Firefox because I'm not going to go through the logging in hassle. He's got that open to work thing. I made mine say open to rock, but people don't notice it unless they really look at it. I think the open to work thing is gay because if you turn that on with LinkedIn, then it makes you look like it's like women. Women don't want to date a guy who's single. Women only want a guy who's already with a girl. That's why if you put on a wedding ring and you go walking down the street, girls will just run up to you and be like, hey, I was wondering if you wanted to get your dick sucked today. But if you're single, you can't even get a fucking date on Tinder. if you don't already, girls only want a guy who's already taken by a girl, because then that proves that you're worthwhile. It's called social proof is the technical term. And it's the same thing with jobs. If you're unemployed, you're unemployable. Then HR is like the chick who only wants to date Chad who's got 10 girlfriends. If you're single and you don't have a girlfriend, she don't want nothing to do with you because, well, if you don't have a girlfriend, that means you're a washed up turd and girls don't want anything to do with you. So why would I want anything to do with you? And it's the same in the job market. So if you put that open to work thing, you may as well have a simp card and just say, I'm a simp. I pay for chicks on OnlyFans. The only naked girl I've seen was on a screen. I've never, you're just a loser. So I put it on mine, but mine says open to rock because I'm making fun of it. And I don't give a fuck about LinkedIn, and I think it's I'm about to burn my LinkedIn account by being a LinkedIn troll, and I'm just going to use my real name and face. Because I'm kind of like, I don't believe in being cat turd and that sassafras cunt and all these people that hide behind the fake names and the fake pictures and pretend to be somebody on the internet, but they won't tell you who they really are. My name's right there on the channel, bitches. Adam Bees. Boom. There you go. Google it. But anyway, every time I'm in LinkedIn, I find a post like this every single fucking time. Please help me find a job. I've been unemployed for 2.5 years. Applying to postings isn't working, and I'm not breaking this job market. Longtime recruiters I know say they have never seen a job market this bad in 30 years, including in the worst recessions. In my case, I've spent through my savings, got evicted, and I'm living in my car. After posting this for months, I still don't have a job. Many people have said encouraging things, and I have raised some money via a GoFundMe to survive in the near future, thanks to those people. But I also know it won't last, so I have to keep it going. Link at the end. Here's the rest of my situation. I was laid off from my job at Google almost 2.5 years ago when there were a lot of layoffs. I keep ATS, automated tracking systems, confirmation emails from job applications in a folder. And at 2 years since the layoffs, I have applied to 3,700 jobs and emailed 2,200 founders. I won't do a new count. Bottom line, I'm getting nowhere. I need a regular job or a monthly contract. It probably has to be a referral from you because of the hiring environment today. Also, FYI, my present job is just the very rare short-term contract. Very rare. The last gig they had me do was a year ago. If you aren't aware of it, the economy is in really bad shape. Is anybody unaware? Anybody watching the video today unaware that the economy is in really bad shape? Inflation is high. Foreclosures and evictions are way up. And a lot of jobs are being sent overseas. Plus, these motherfuckers like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and all these fucking scumbags, they're importing half of the fucking country from India to come take our fucking jobs on H-1B visas and kicking us out of our own fucking jobs here on our own soil. Because companies will say some bullshit about we can't find any Americans that'll do the job. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy, you got this guy. He used to work at fucking Google. He's applied to 3,700 jobs, plus emailed 2,200 CEOs and whatnot. I would hire him just because of that. You show initiative, boy. Come work for us. Yeah, the H-1B visas come over here, and the companies that hire them get two things. They get somebody to do the job for like 1/3 of the price of what they would have to pay an American to do the same job. And the person that they brought over from India is literally an indentured servant because that visa is tied to the company. So if you worked for that company and you don't like your job, you can just say, peace out, bitches. I'm going to go work somewhere else. But that person from India can't go get another job. They're tied to the company that brought them here. And so they come over here because making 30 grand a year in America is better than living in India surrounded by people who shit on the street in a river full of garbage and trash. And so they come over here and take our fucking jobs for 1/3 of the price, and then Americans can't find the jobs. And then you look at these, there's a fucking picture of a meeting at one of Elon Musk's companies, and it's a room with like 500 people in it, and there's one white guy in the whole fucking room, and the rest of everybody else in the room is from India. Like, as far as the eye can see, it's like half of fucking Bangalore came over on a boat. You know how they all climb on the fucking trains and hold on to the fucking windowsills of and you know, they sit on the roof of the train. It's like one of those trains pulled up to the fucking station outside of Elon Musk's company, and they all got off the fucking train and went to their jobs. And there's one American guy there that they hired as a token white guy. And all the comments under the picture were all making fun of the fucking white guy and basically calling it out. And now, but a lot of the Indian people are getting sent home because they're like, fuck you, we got an AI bot to do the job now. See ya, Ranjit. Go back to Bangladesh. Have fun in your river of garbage and your shit on the streets. and the fucking your streets where there's so many fucking electric wires going across the fucking street that you can't even see the sun, and all the other third world shit from the dump you fucking came over here from. Fuck it, man. I don't care. Why do I have to worry about what I say? I'm the one who can say out loud what everybody else is thinking and afraid to say, because I ain't got a fucking job to lose. I'm not even going to... I'll tell you. Everybody I talked to about this job today were from India. I couldn't understand them. I had to start emailing them because I couldn't... I'm like, what the fuck? This guy told me his name 3 fucking times, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck his name was, so I stopped asking, and I waited until he sent me an email so I could see what the fuck his name was. So, there you go. Another... Now, if I get into the job... If I get into an interview setting, it won't be like that. I won't be working with Team India over at that company because they don't hire people from India to do that job. If I was a programmer, I'd be working in Curry Towers, and the whole fucking tower smells like a fucking Indian buffet. And yeah, I'd be the only white guy in the whole fucking tower. And the only reason I worked in that building when I worked for that company was because I could wear jeans. If I went to the big glass tower where all the fancy people were, I'd have to wear a suit. And I'm like, I don't want to wear a fucking suit to sit in front of a computer and write code and shit all day. I'll just go to the other building and work at Curry Towers. But yeah, I was like, this is a 30-story building with like 10 white guys in it and 30,000 Indians. And they're taking all the fucking jobs. And like, the companies are full of shit. They're like, oh, we can't find Americans to do these jobs. Here, read this guy. Let's keep reading this guy's story, right? Bottom line, I'm getting nowhere. I need a regular job, blah, blah, blah. Inflation is high for FYI, my present job is just the short-term contract, very rare. The last gig they had me do was a year ago. If you aren't aware of it, the economy is in really bad shape. We've already established that we are fully aware. Inflation is high, foreclosures and evictions are way up, and a lot of jobs are being sent overseas. My background spans high-growth startups and tech giants with a proven track record, well, there's your mistake, of placing specialized talent. I've placed people with all sorts of backgrounds, including engineers. Oh, he's a recruiter. You're fucking done, dude. They don't hire recruiters anymore that speak English. You can't be a recruiter if you're not from India. You can't be a programmer if you're not from India. At least what I do, they can't hire some ding-a-ling from India to come over and do graphic design to appeal to Americans because, if you hired the people from India to come over and do the graphic design work, it would be all a bunch of gold swirls and yoga logos over everything and weird ass fucking shit. Like, go to the Indian buffet and go to the Indian restaurant. It would all look like that. It's not necessarily the right design for a bank. So that's why Americans can still get graphic design and art jobs here in America. But if you're a programmer, fuck it. I would never suggest my child go to school to learn how to be a programmer unless you're going to, start shitting in the street and, doing India shit. I don't know. I'm just saying. You can't get a fucking job doing that shit if you're not from India. And the government can, they can put a stop to that shit because it's all illegal what they're doing. H-1B visa is when you can't find somebody in America to do the job, you can hire somebody from another country. But what the companies are doing is they're taking advantage of it and saying, we just want to bring everybody in from overseas so we can hire 3 guys for the price of 1 American guy. And they're an indentured servant who can't leave the company, and we have them as basically one step above slavery. And I don't have a problem with people from India. I've worked with plenty of people from India who are top-notch talent. I don't give a shit where you're from. That has nothing but the companies that hire when I go into the tower for that major corporation and I see 25,000 Indians working in a tower that all came from India to do those jobs, and you're telling me that there's nobody in America that could do that fucking job, and then I see all these broke-ass unemployed programmers everywhere, we know what's going on. Fine, I'll say it. Call me a racist piece of shit. I don't care. Anyway, please mention me to your friends or hire me, please. And then there's more. Hire me, please. Hire me, please. Okay. I'm going to keep the GoFundMe going because after 2.5 years, I don't know when this job market will loosen up. Well, it's not. It's going to get worse. You think it's bad today? Come back in a year and tell me about the good old days of 2026. Because Donald Trump ain't going to do nothing for us. Donald Trump ain't... If you're in America last. Donald Trump is all about America last. He ain't going to do nothing for you. He ain't going to do nothing for me. They're talking about... This is a segue. But they're talking about... Donald Trump's talking about putting people who'd vandalized the pool in prison for 10 years. I was in prison with a guy from January 6th. I could tell you his name, but I won't. But I'll tell you enough that you can find out. He pepper sprayed a cop in the face. And the next day, the cop died. Donald Trump gave him a pardon. So Donald Trump is fine with vandalizing the Capitol. And I'm not even saying, I'm like, I was glad to watch the Capitol get stormed that day. I'm glad I didn't go. um, if it was warm out, I would have been there because it's not like I could have rode my bicycle there. There's a bike trail. In fact, if I had gone to January 6th, I would have never been caught because I had a plan. I know where I'd park my car, and I would have rode my bicycle into town, parked my bicycle in a secret spot that I know about. I would have put on a mask. The only time during COVID I would have wore a mask, and I would have went down into the shit. I probably would have been in the Capitol, but my phone wouldn't have been with me. My phone wouldn't have been anywhere around me. So they wouldn't have had my GPS. But anyway, gonna keep this GoFundMe going. I don't know when the job market will. We're fucked. We're done. America's over, people. America is done. You can call me a Debbie Downer or whatever the fuck you want to call me. Come back and see me when America comes back, because it's not. We're in the end. It's the end. Some shit's about to happen. I would be glad to see a false flag take place, because people would stop arguing about that stupid fucking pool. Like, it's been going on for a week, and I'm just sick and tired of watching people argue about a pool. I'd be fine with another 9/11. Bunch of people got killed, but we don't have to listen to these dipshits talk about a fucking pool anymore. They're moving on. They moved on from Michelle Obama has a dick to let's argue about a pool. It's like, how about let's argue about the fact that we just crossed the line to where you get to keep some of the money you make this year. All the money that you made from January 1st till like this week all went to pay your taxes. Can we stop arguing about whether Michelle Obama has a dick and whether someone vandalized a pool, and talk about why do we pay half of our fucking money to a government that turns around and shits all over us with it? Can we have that conversation? No. Fucking libtard. Fuck you, libtard. Fuck you, libtard. And then the Democrats will come up and be like, fuck you, maggot. Fuck you, maggot. You fucking maggot. You fucking MAGA hat. You know what I was about to say. Members only live stream. You'll have to come to the members only live stream to hear that word. But yeah, I mean, I'm tired of it, man. I'm not gonna quit on X. I've got how many? Where are we at now? Because the followers come and go. A lot of people follow me because they'll see me troll. They'll see me. I'll go to like Cat Turd or one of these MAGA douchebags, that fucking dumb bitch Sassafras 84 or Gunther Eagleman or one of these fucking pieces of shit, and I'll trash them. I'll trash talk them, and I'll get a bunch of followers. But then people come to my page and they're like, "Wait a minute. He says he says Michelle Obama has a dick. Fuck that motherfucker." And then I'll post Michelle Obama has a dick on some Democrats thing. I'll call Lindsey Graham gay or whatever, and I'll get a bunch of followers from that. And then they'll see, wait a minute, he made fun of our team too? Fuck him. Fuck him. So a lot of people come and go. So and the stats, you can look at the stats and it shows exactly what's going on. But I'm up to 1,008 followers today. So, like, right on, if you go to the links.litgood.com, click on X right now at the very top of the screen. Look, right here. 2 years in federal prison for mean tweets. Walked out homeless. Rebuilding from nothing. 0 fucks for the COVID or MAGA cults. Check out my Unchained links. And then proof that I'm an equal opportunity hater. The red hat retards in the MAGA cult and the mask-wearing morons in the COVID cult can both go eat a dick. And so here's a post I trolled somebody about. You MAGA morons would be shooting people in the back of the head for touching the peeling paint in your precious pool. And then I said, your dumb black bimbo that none of you even had a say in choosing was just as evil. And these were responses to somebody else's posts. I just didn't put the original post I was responding to there, but you can go and find out. Go to the replies button and you can find it. But then I had somebody calling me, you went to prison because you're a child molester. And so I said, well, if you did your fucking research for 10 seconds, you could find out what I went to prison for. And here, I'll show you. My link is right there. Links. Click on that. Go down to, let's see, where you go. You can go here. Oh, there you go. There's my name. You take that, paste, go there, Google, boom. How long did that take to figure out what I went to prison for? Seriously, people will be like, I'm like, you're that much of a lazy piece of shit, you can't go click, copy, paste, click. That's the fucking amount of research that you had to do to figure out what the fuck happened to me. Number one fucking result on LinkedIn or on Google right now. And that wasn't always the case. That goes up and down. Oh, there I am right there on LinkedIn too. I can go to my LinkedIn. Oh, but I'd have to log in to be able to see other stuff. See, there I am. Open to rock. Where are we at? Open in the new tab. See, there's my open to rock picture but my company name is Hard Rock Brand if I ever get around to registering the fictitious business name, which all I have to do is go down to an office in Houston, but I can't do it right now because I'll get pulled over for driving without a license plate or whatever. And, anyhow, that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. But I've had people argue with me on X that I'm lying about that I didn't go to prison and I'm making the whole thing up. There's my picture. That's not me. I actually had AI do that, but I uploaded my own photo and had AI do that with my photo. And I made a jailhouse picture and a Jedi picture for something that I was working on. So that's a real picture, but AI took it and changed my face and put a grubby old t-shirt on, but it's accurate. It is me. And I'm not going to change that because if I did, I'd lose my blue check mark for a couple days. And this is what it's at. That's why I'm leaving it here. But people argue with me over and over again on this stupid fucking platform full of retards saying that I'm lying about what I say that I did and that I'm actually a child molester who went to prison for raping kids. Once again, you go to my profile, you click a link. Granted, you might have to click around. You might not know what to click on, but you're going to find my name. You click on fucking YouTube. There you go. And there it is. Boom. There's his name. Copy, paste, bang, done. There you go. How fucking hard is that? Are you that much of a stupid piece of shit that you couldn't click twice, copy and paste a fucking name and figure out what I did bad? But, that's MAGA for you. That's these fucking political retards for you. And you see I'm getting worked up for no fucking reason because, I'm mad at a bunch of retards for being retarded. Like, what's the point? It's not like I signed up for X expecting to have intellectual discourse with well-rounded and knowledgeable people. I showed up on X to be a fucking troll and to see if I can make money being a dickhead. Period. I would rather make money being an internet dickhead on X if it's possible, if the market's there. I mean, a fucking guy from India made a fake OnlyFans account with an AI-generated girl wearing a MAGA hat, showing off her AI-generated tits and her AI-generated pussy, putting up a bunch of posts about I love Trump, go MAGA America, and all that. And he made like $30,000 a month, getting a bunch of dumbass MAGA simps to pay for an OnlyFans account from a fake girl made up by an AI bot. So don't tell me I can't live my dream of being a dickhead on the internet making millions of dollars, because there's already people doing it. There's already people doing it. I follow a bunch of them. Let's see. There's Cat Turd, Sassafras, 84. What's the Gunther Eagleman, Laura Loomer, that fucking lunatic. Holy shit, that girl. They say crazy in the head means crazy in bed, but I don't know. I don't know about that. But we're at 3 hours and 10 minutes now, and I didn't talk. We did one Jesus calling. I got a whole bunch of the. Oh man, we might have to wait till next year. I can't go. I got so many notes I didn't cover today. I've had a good time though. I'm glad you all came to hang out. We've had a good crowd tonight. Good chats. Good. If I never get past the shadow ban on YouTube, be even better. Now YouTube has a event in Houston for the YouTube creators, and I got invited. And so it's sometime in July. And so I might be able to go down and talk to people in person and be like, hey, can you unshadow ban my fucking account? But, I'm just going to be with a bunch of blue-haired woke retards wearing, all the rainbow shirts will be done because it's not Pride Month anymore. But, all the people will have pronouns, and there's probably going to be 60 different genders walking around the room. And, I'm probably not going to meet anybody that's my own kind. So I'm probably just going to lay low and just, see what happens. Be nice to people, but not, I'm going to be about kind of like that, like don't care. Go get some free food and some booze, but don't drink too much because you can't get pulled over. Who knows? Maybe my car will be fixed by then. That would be really nice. Oh, and did you hear about Palm Beach Pete? There's a question. Palm Beach Pete is Jeffrey Epstein's living in Palm Beach, and he's running for mayor now of Palm Beach. Jeffrey Epstein is running for mayor in Palm Beach, Florida now, because he's just living his fucking best life. And he went to get a DNA test to prove that he's not Jeffrey Epstein, and the state confiscated the DNA test or something like that, and they're telling him they're not going to let him run for mayor because of some questionable things on the that's turning into a thing. But yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's just living his fucking life out in the open, running for fucking mayor now. I've been saying all along, like Alex Jones is saying, that's not him. I don't believe it's him. My best friend who's got a tinfoil hat, his tinfoil hat, he's not agreeing with me. That's cool. We don't agree on everything. I'm telling you, that Jeffrey Epstein is alive, and these people have gotten to the point where they're so obnoxious about the shit they're getting away with that, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein is out walking the fucking streets, not even trying to hide, blowing up on YouTube and running for fucking mayor now. And with that, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to have to get the fuck out of here because I'm just going to keep getting mad. So I'm going to say peace out, and we'll hang out again next week. Thank you, everybody, for popping in. And for anybody who's watching the replay, thank you as well. Give that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, all that bullshit they tell you to do. Ring the fucking bell, and I'm out.